Never find me. Over here to Plankton 187. Uzi 2. Are you a lefty? Are you a lefty that hasn't bought a gun yet? Are you a lefty that hasn't bought a bulletproof vest yet? You might want to reconsider, lefty. Time for the lefties to defend themselves from this fascism. Yeah, that's right. We got that Uzi 2, bitch. That's right. They think we're weak. They think we're gonna roll the fuck over. We ain't rolling,
Thank you, T. Cause that sugarless motherfucker, it's the last fucking drink you're ever gonna have.
Oh, shit, no, Mommy, please, Tony, please.
That's right. It's that motherfucking Plankton 187. All right? It's the sound of the underground. Welcome to the real fucking news. Welcome to the only place that's gonna give it to you real. You're under attack. You're under assault. If you're on the left, you're in danger. This ain't no fucking joke. This ain't no fucking joke. Your rights are under attack. Your liberties are under attack. Your freedoms are under attack. So what the fuck are you gonna do about it? You gonna let Mitch McConnell roll all over you? Huh? You gonna let Ted Cruz tell you how to fucking live? You gonna let Madison Cawthorn tell you how to fucking live? I don't fucking think so. I don't fucking think so. Madison Cawthorn can gobble these fucking nuts. Fascist. Fascist. You goddamn right I'm angry. You fucking right. And while I'm spreading around these fuck yous like a nice warm butter on a piece of toast, let's not forget the time wasters on the left. Chuckleheads, motherfuckers talking about bullshit when they should be getting in the motherfucking streets. Where the fuck are you, Hassan? Have you even talked about the May Day strike? Yeah, that's right. There's a May Day strike happening. Get with it. You know how effective this May Day strike would be if you could get behind it, Hassan? Oh no, I might alienate my viewers and I might lose some money. Yeah, I see where your motivations are at, Hassan. Making fat stacks. Good for fucking you. Sitting comfortably. Sitting real comfortably. Pathetic. Weak. Oh, I'm a Giga Chad. I'm a Giga Chad. I'm so pretty. You look pretty fucking ugly to me. Not in your aesthetics, motherfucker, but in your character. Your character disgusts me. Anybody with a conscience, with your clout and your kind of money, would do something with it. Do something with it, Hassan. You got millions of dollars. You got tens of thousands of viewers. So where the fuck are you at on this progressive shit? You playing Among Us? Huh? You playing Grand Theft Auto roleplay? Roleplay these nuts, bitch! Fuck you, Hassan. Fuck you, Vosh. And fuck you, Destiny. Time wasting pieces of shit. Millions of dollars. Thousands of viewers. And you sit on your fucking ass. Pathetic. You will be remembered as the time-wasting grifters that you are. Get your ass out in the streets right fucking now. We are under assault from the fascist right. And you sit around chuckling and laughing. Like this shit ain't serious. This shit's as serious as it gets, bitch. All right, these are people's lives at stake. Where the fuck are you at? It's a motherfuck you Saturday. Welcome to the News Underground. We keep it so goddamn real. right-wingers, we shoot back. Don't you fucking think you're gonna walk in with your fucking beer gut and your squeaky clean shoes, your fucking rig that you just bought from Amazon, and think you're gonna take over this country? I don't fucking think so. We shoot back, bitch. Fuck you, Mitch McConnell. Fuck you, Ted Cruz. Fuck you, Madison Cawthorn. Fuck you, Manchin. Fuck you, Cinema. I could go on. If you're not with this progressive shit in the streets talking about how we need health care, we need education, we need jobs, we need houses. If you're not out there talking that real shit, you can suck my fucking dick. People are dying. People are suffering. People are in pain. And what the fuck are you doing about it? That's right. I'm talking to you. Get your ass out there. I'm so sick of the fucking excuses. Everyone's got a fucking reason why they can't help. Everyone's got a fucking reason. Yeah. You think activist movements are built on your fucking excuses? Huh? You think progressive policies get passed with your fucking excuses? Oh no, I do this, I do that. It ain't enough. It ain't enough. About to enter a fucking nuclear war. Proxy, not a nuclear war, maybe, maybe not a nuclear war, but at the very least a new Cold War through the Ukraine. You're okay with this? Got our NATO encircling a fucking another country while we're telling them how to act. What would you do if you were Russia? Huh? What do you think America would do if Russia was rolling up into Mexico and rolling up into Canada, putting military bases and missiles all along its border, saying that shit's defense? What the fuck would you do about that shit? I'm not over here to be defending Putin, okay? But I'm just saying some of these actions are not illogical. Okay? You don't get to fuck with everyone else's country and not expect, reaction. What, we're just gonna roll all over them? Fucking American diplomats talking about how Russia needs to join NATO. Holy shit. Anyway, Plankton 187. Buy that merch. Support the music of the underground. We shoot back. We shoot back. So sick of it. Everyone's got a fucking excuse. I'm so sick of it. Everyone's got a fucking excuse. So sick of it. Here's some comedy for you. Here. Laugh.
And it's clearly a violation of the leash law. Call the pound.
I already did, sir. The truck is waiting outside.
Out of my way! Grab that dog!
Oh my God, get that dog.
Excuse me, ma'am!
Holy shit.
Watch out!
Oh boy.
Oh. What you gonna do, puppers? Hit him! Holy shit! Oh, dude! Damn. How'd they train that dog to do that? That's amazing. Look at this. Don't underestimate the enemy. All right? They may be LARPing, pathetic incels who think they're the toughest sons of bitches in the world, who are afraid to shoot their own gun. But this is the same bullet coming out of that gun. Whether you're a highly trained fascist paramilitary or some LARPing piece of shit. Don't underestimate these idiots. Don't you dare. This Meal Team 6. You want Meal Team 6 tell you how to live? You want Gravy Seals tell you how to live? They think they have the right. And you know what? They're putting in the work. They're putting in the work. They're donating to their political organizations. They're showing up to marches. They're supporting them online. You know, they're supporting the politicians that support them, and they're exiling any politician that disagrees with them, because they understand the game. They understand that this is politics. This isn't fucking pat yourself on the back and make friends with people, Bernie Sanders. You think I give a shit that you're still friends with Nancy fucking Pelosi? You think that means a fucking good goddamn to me? Hell no. You think I give a fuck that you're still friendly with Chuck Schumer? No. So the fascists understand the game. Progressives are still fucking twiddle-deeing with their fucking nutsack. I don't know what the fuck the progressives are doing. I don't know. Maybe we should still work with the neoliberals. I don't know, man. Yeah, you don't know, straw man. America is so lucky that white people are the ones in charge of Martin Luther King's legacy, because if black people were in charge, then we'd all be forced to spend MLK Day reflecting on the virtues of civil disobedience, subversive activism, socialism, economic justice, anti-imperialism, and anti-racism as a U.S. foreign policy, and not just a domestic one. Climb into that slippery slope, and it won't be long before we're celebrating the virtues of Malcolm X and Fannie Lou Hamer. Yeah, and Ron DeSantis wants to do everything in his fucking power to make sure that doesn't happen. Oh no, you made me feel uncomfortable. Ron DeSantis, a number one king fucking pussy. Suck my dick, Ron. Yo, welcome back, Rob. Motherfucking Bill Nye Science Guy in this bitch.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Fucking know it. So here we go. Failures. They made all kinds of promises, like they always do. Well, I'll be progressive this time, I promise. I'll be progressive this time, I promise. Yeah, I'd like to see it, Wiley. I'd like to see it. Like it'll do a goddamn thing. Yeah, they'll release it and do nothing about it. Taking all the wrong lessons. Playing the short game here from the neoliberals. Bush administration not held accountable for lies leading to the Iraq War. We don't want to alienate midterm voters. Remember Barack Obama? Not doing a goddamn thing to the criminals in the Bush administration. McConnell blocks votes on Obama's Supreme Court nominee, packs bench with right-wing extremists. Doing something to fix that would ruffle too many feathers. Anyone remember that? Obama's second term, completely failing, allowing the Republicans to obstruct and lie, saying, oh, no, we're not, That's what they said. No, but I remember that. You know, let's try to put up a moderate Supreme Court judge, so maybe it won't get blocked. Mitch McConnell laughing. Mitch McConnell fucking chuckling. Oh yeah, no, we'll be fair, and then rushes through his nominees as soon as fucking possible. Trump and associates incite a deadly coup. Here's Merrick Garland. The prudent course of action is to be institutionally prudent. Fucking fuck you. Merrick Garland not doing jack shit in his role as the DOJ. Members of Congress support insurrection. Refuse to confirm Biden's election. Consequences? ? That would make too many people angry, says another fucking status quo neoliberal, failing the American public and allowing fascism to take over the fucking country. Nonpartisan state election officials threatened, replaced by big lie spouting Trumpists. Oh, I don't want to cause a stir. I don't know. Might alienate more people. Better not call them out. Better not prosecute criminals. That'd be bad. Election sabotage. Nation becomes one-party autocracy. What do the neoliberals have to say? Oh, I'm sure we'll vote out of this somehow. And that's the crux of this, and that's why I wanted to show this cartoon. okay? Because these fucking neoliberal failures think they're getting another chance after 2024. Oh, well, if they too many people vote for Trump and we lose, well, they'll just see. They'll see like they did in 2016. Oh boy, they'll see. They'll see, boy. They'll come right on back. They'll come right on back and vote for us. It doesn't matter how many people vote for you. They got this shit rigged, dude. Fucking right, I'm wild. I'm so sick of the excuses. Get down with the strike. Get down with the protest. Can't vote for me. I'm moving the fuck out of this country. You got to save yourself, Rob. You don't even live in the United States. No, none of my viewers live in the United States. You know why? Because no one who's living in the United States wants to hear this shit. Oh, I know, you're making me feel bad. Oh, you're making me feel bad about doing absolutely jack fucking shit. I want to come up with, give me some excuses why I can continue to do jack shit just like Vosh does. Pat me on the back and tell me I'm a good boy. I'm your neighbor, bro. I feel bad for my neighbors. Get down with the strike. Get down with the strike. Get down with activism. It's a 3-step program. 1, inform yourself. 2, join a progressive activist organization in your area, just like the one I'm showing here. Step 3, get out there and put in the work. Oh, don't tell me to do that. Oh, that interrupts my Netflix time. I work too hard. I have no time. You don't think I work? I work over 40 hours a week, and somehow I can still manage to put in a couple hours every single fucking day, mostly. At least an hour in front of this fucking camera talking shit. Oh, you don't have the energy. You don't have the energy to make a couple phone calls. You don't have the energy to make a couple signs. You don't have the energy to, what, show up to a protest once in a while? Your entire fucking future and the future of your children are depending on it. You don't have time for it? Oh, shit. Yeah, come get it. Come get my Tesla. Get your cat, bitch. Get your cat, bitch. Yeah, we shoot back. Yeah, lefties shoot back. Meal Team 6. Don't think for one fucking second you're gonna celebrate the January 6th insurrection at counter protest every BLM civil rights protest with your fucking, untouched brand new gear you bought from Amazon. Don't think you're not gonna get no pushback. Oh, they think they're just going to walk all over us. Yeah, we shoot back. We shoot back. All right, so I need to apologize in advance. We're going to show Joy-Ann Reid. The readout. Ugh. I apologize in advance. We're going to watch this. But to her credit, she's given the daughter of Martin Luther King a mic and an audience to say what she thinks Americans should do to honor MLK's legacy. You tell me if what she's saying sounds a little familiar to what I've been saying. You tell me.
Joining me now, Dr. Bernice A. King, CEO of the King Center and daughter of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King, and Jelani Cobb, staff writer for The New Yorker and professor of journalism at Columbia University. And Dr. Bernice King, thank you so much for being here. It's always an honor to talk with you. So on this day, which commemorates your dad's 93rd birthday and commemorates his work and his life's work, what do you say to the people who are, particularly the Republicans and a couple Democrats, who are using his word.
Not just a couple, Joyanne. This rotating villain theory is bullshit, okay? Oh, it's just Mansion and Cinema and that dirty little parliamentarian. Oh, if only they would get out of the way, then everyone would be so progressive. What world do you live in? I hope that check you're cashing is worth it, okay? Because it's not just two neoliberals that are getting in the way of MLK's legacy. Not even fucking close.
And quoting them out today, but also opposing voting rights, also standing up for the filibuster and not for the right to vote.
Well, I think the first thing that we have to continue to do is educate people fully about my father. Unfortunately, there was a season of time in this nation where we amplified my father's I Have a Dream speech, even in the media. It became the predominant teaching of Dr. King. And so we are responsible for some of that level of ignorance in our society. But in the last few years, obviously, since the 50th anniversary of the I Have a Dream speech and celebrations afterwards, there have been more.
Sorry, Rob, we're going to have to hold off on derailing the stream on something completely unrelated to what I'm talking about till a little bit later. Okay, bud? Thank you.
Exposure to my father's words. The fact of the matter is the misappropriation and the convenient use of his words.
That's right.
Is always the case when people are trying to accomplish their own agenda. And that's what we see over and over again in this scenario and so many other scenarios. And so my challenge to people is to really take the time to study and understand the whole and the comprehensive Martin Luther King Jr. This was a man who literally, along with John Lewis, along with Amelia Boynton, along with Jose Williams, and others, sacrificed their life and bodies to fight to preserve the right to vote, to protect it, to advance it. And so anyone who thinks that Dr. King would say, let's move on, everything is all right, is sadly mistaken.
That's right.
Because he would not have made that kind of sacrifice if he did not feel that it was necessary to do so. And so we have to find a way in this nation to secure the right to vote so that we never again have to keep coming back to this place. So I even want to challenge us, even past passing these federal legislations. You know, what is the strategic work that we have to do as the people of this nation to enshrine voting rights in our Constitution so that we cannot
join a progressive organization and get out there and fucking march.
Have these kind of manipulations going on over and over again.
You know, and you even have some of these same legislators that are using your father, just that one snippet. They love the 63 March on Washington speech, but they haven't clearly ever heard the whole speech, nor... And they only know a snippet of it. And, you know, Marco Rubio tried to parachute into a different part of the speech today to try to throw people off. But they only know the content of our character, not being judged by the color of our skin, but rather by the content of our character. What do you make of the people like the Glenn Youngkins and others who are using that as a rationale to ban the teaching of what they call critical race theory, but really is the teaching of history? They're literally banning books by Black authors. And in some cases, like in Texas, where they, you know, the governor also tried to use your father's words, they're literally banning books about your father. Yeah. They're saying you may not read this book about Dr. King, but I'm going to use Dr. King's words to justify it.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're a fucking craven politician using the words of MLK to ban MLK, you're a fucking racist. You fucking betcha. What a disgusting display of overt racism to use the words of MLK to block out teaching history of black people in this country. Yeah, you fucking betcha, Rob.
Well, it's again, that's the short-sightedness of it.
And learn how to fucking spell it, dude. Are you gonna criticize me? At least put that shit through spell check. Racists? The fuck is a racist?
Because Dr. King was trying to eradicate racism. And so when he spoke in the context of the I Have a Dream speech about the content of character, not the color of their skin, they missed the fact that he had these triple evils of poverty, racism, and militarism, and that racism was very much a part and embedded in our systems and structures of society, and that we have to remove systemic issues. And so again, it's very short-sighted. And the beauty of it is, though, that there's always other ways to make sure that people learn about Dr. King. And I thank God for the power of technology. And I thank God for those who have the courage, because we have to have the courage in the season. You know, I think it's time for there to be a massive civil disobedience and massive non-cooperation with evil. It's going to take courage, and it's going to take a strategy and a plan, just like it did in Montgomery and Birmingham. And there's going to be some sacrifice.
That's right.
But people are going to have to find a way, in spite of all of that,
right.
To teach it.
Yeah, I love having a historian around.
You hear that? You hear what she just said? You got to get off your ass and sacrifice. You got to get off your ass and sacrifice.
It's always good to have a friend who's a historian, and we have Jelani Cobb here. I want to bring you in, Jelani, because it does feel like the misappropriation of Dr. King is it's a seasonal exercise among those who literally, if you transported them back to that time, would have been against everything that he stood for. Because as Dr. Bernice King has said, he was for eradicating poverty and allowing people the right to vote, and things that they are diametrically opposed to. Talk a little bit about what people are missing about who Dr. King was when he is turned into sort of a greeting card rather than a human being.
Well, fundamentally, one, I'm happy that Dr. Bernice King, has made that point about the triple evils that Dr. Martin Luther King indicted the United States for. We lose track of the fundamental point that he was a dissident. He was someone who was critiquing the prevailing order of things, which is exactly why they were leading people on these massive marches, which is why they marched 54 miles from Selma to Montgomery before he gave that speech, indicting the economic order of the South. Reverend Barber is great on this. He talks about this, about how the disenfranchisement of Black voters at the end of the 19th century was a prerequisite for creating an economic system that was going to disadvantage all poor people across lines of color. And Dr. King talked about that. They don't want to grapple with the Dr. King that said that we needed to look into a universal basic income, that we needed a fairer redistribution of wealth in this country. All those kinds of things that those demands that he issued that were indictments of the prevailing order, that none of that is heard. What we've heard is the simple saccharine version of this imaginary character whom they're calling Dr. King.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, and his stand against the war. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. His stand against the Vietnam War. Jelani, we still have two states in this country, Mississippi and Alabama, that use today to actually celebrate Robert E. Lee. They use it to celebrate the Confederacy because they didn't want there to be a King Day. And that is the only way they were willing to do it. Let me play Ronald Reagan, who also didn't want there to be a national holiday for Dr. King. This is the way that he sort of, grudgingly spoke about this holiday that we now have and that he actually signed into law back during that time.
I would have preferred a day similar to, say, Lincoln's birthday, which is not technically a national holiday, but is certainly a day reverenced by a great many people in our country and has been. I would have preferred that, but since they seem bent on making it a national holiday, I believe the symbolism of that day is important enough that I'll sign that legislation.
Yeah, you believe this is a political calculation, you fucking hack. You fucking hack.
Which is my desk.
You have any idea who they are in this concept, Jelani, what he's talking about there?
I have no idea. I mean, perhaps there are people who look like the three of us on the screen right now.
Yeah, that's right.
But, when we look at this, I mean, Reagan was just the most obvious example of this. We all know about the resistance in Arizona to there being a national holiday and there being the uphill fight. One of the things that we've overlooked about Coretta Scott King is the fact that the campaign for the national holiday began immediately after Dr. King was killed.
Welcome back.
That she picked up that mantle and began pushing for that cause, and John Conyers introduced the bill to make his birthday a national holiday the week that he was assassinated. And so this was an ongoing protracted struggle that they
I mean, you know, OG Lee will tell you, you know, since he was my age, right wing and left wing grifters and opportunists have been using Martin Luther King's words against his wishes, against his proclamations. Oh yeah, we can't teach history, Martin Luther King. Oh yeah, we can't have black rights because of Martin Luther King. These grifters and charlatans have been using MLK's words to fight against progressive change. Okay? And it happened immediately. It happened while he was alive, even. Right? Don't try to fucking tell me Ted Cruz would be pro MLK if he was alive today. Fuck no.
They had to engage in order to even achieve this grudgingly. And over the objections of many people on the right whose them or their descendants, ideological descendants, are now embracing this fictive version of Dr. King with both hands.
Yeah. And
this pretend version that they've concocted. Oh, Martin Luther King wouldn't want you to fight back, guys.
I'm going to give you the last word on this, Dr. King, please. Yes, please.
I just wanted to add something to that. You know, that 15-year time was a time that she used an opportunity to educate the grassroots. So she built a movement from the ground up for those 15 years to ensure that people understood the importance of Dr. King, his teachings, and why we needed a national holiday. And so we're going to have a massive education campaign right now because there is a disconnect between a great...
You hear that? Step 2. You hear that? Okay? Join the May Day strike, all right? Participate in this May Day strike, okay? Respect the words of Martin Luther King and his progeny, okay? The only way we're going to get this shit done is with nonviolent, direct political action. You can quote me on that shit.
Percentage of Americans and those who may be on the front line of even activism.
Yeah, no, Lee, you're totally right. And how disgusting is that he fucking quotes Martin Luther King, that he uses the words of Martin Luther King. You know, out in Arizona, that son of a bitch out there in Arizona using the words of Martin Luther King to ban CRT and justify burning books.
We're going to have to bridge that gap so that the pressure can be even greater on the Senate.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
Indeed. Hey, Joy-Ann Reid, why don't you do a nice 20-minute segment on the failures of the neoliberal administration to, you know, honor the words of Martin Luther King? Why don't you point out that the biggest gateway between Bernie Sanders, who absolutely agrees with Martin Luther King, was the party that you vociferously support, Joy-Ann Reid? Huh? Yeah, you were with her, weren't you? You were with her, but you weren't with the progressives. And now you're doing the same exact thing you're calling the right-wingers out for. Oh, you're shrouding yourself in the image of Martin Luther King while defending parties and that are totally against his message. The neoliberals do not represent the message of Martin Luther King. Absolutely not. And who does Joy-Ann Reid support? Yeah, you fucking right, them neoliberals. So fucking sick of the charlatans. But I will give her credit. You gave these people an audience. Good for you, Joy-Ann Reid. You get a pat on the back. And a long fucking letter of grievances about how you support the neoliberal establishment that does not believe in the message of MLK. Charlatan. In the interest of fairness, I wanted to talk about this. BC, British Columbia, where I live. She ain't no Walter Cronkite. That's for goddamn sure. Walter Cronkite wasn't perfect either, but heads and tails better than Joy-Ann Reid. But anyway, in the effort of fairness, I would like to point this out. Looks like BC is going to be lifting some of its restrictions. I disagree, but they should. I disagree that they should, but this is what's happening. BC's top doctor signals major shift in COVID strategy. Have a look here.
There are many.
Let's watch an ad. Home and Garden TV. Do people watch this shit? You have to pay for this shit. You gotta pay. You couldn't pay me to watch this Home and Garden TV shit. Why would I watch rich people build houses I can't afford? Oh yeah, that's a nice house. I'll never live in one. It's like going to the richest part of New York and looking in the windows and be like, oh, well, I'd like to buy that. Yeah, good for you, Rob. Don't be asking me why the fuck I'm angry. Telling me to chill the fuck out.
The pandemic. So I want to spend a little bit of time talking about this. I have talked about some of the changes we have in testing and isolation, but I think we need to go back to the basic principles. The Omicron variant is different, so we have adapted how we manage this situation. While most people now will not need testing for COVID-19, it is important that we all have the information we need about what measures we can take to prevent spread of illness.
Could you speak up? I am not a 7-year-old sitting in class after a hissy fit. I feel like I'm being talked to by a fucking grade school teacher. I just don't. Anyway, it's just a stylistic critique. I'm nitpicking here.
And to manage when we are exposed or get sick ourselves. Even with Omicron spreading, most people being tested for COVID-19 don't have it. Yes, we have our highest test positivity rates ever, and it's in the 20% to 30% range. But that means that 70% of people with symptoms who are being tested don't have COVID-19. So we need to put that in context as well. This change aligns with the evidence-based communicable disease principles that we follow when we manage in public health, when we're managing any respiratory communicable disease. And from the very beginning, contact tracing is a public health intervention that is well suited and applied to some communicable diseases and not others. Disease characteristics that make contact tracing effective are things like having a longer incubation period, because you have to have time to find people after somebody's been tested. Low infectiousness, as we've seen, as with this with COVID, for example, as it becomes more and more infectious, it's much more challenging to find people with contact tracing. And we also need effective measures that contacts can take to prevent infection.
Could you try even just once to stay on topic, Rob? This is something that even concerns you. You're the big fucking COVID cynic. You're bringing up the most random shit. Could you please try to stay on topic, dude? Who the fuck cares what I think about fucking Boris? Foppish fat ass who fucking lies to people on the regular. Topic. You know what, Rob? Enjoy another fucking timeout. I'm so sick of you derailing my fucking stream. So sick of you coming here asking me non sequitur questions and driving this fucking stream off a cliff. Sick of it.
For themselves or to others. And if we look at measles, for example, that has a 2 to 3 week incubation period, we have time to find somebody. We can provide them with vaccination, for example, that can protect them from developing symptoms themselves. Other diseases are hepatitis, for example, where again, you can provide an intervention that will prevent transmission. These disease characteristics make it possible to identify and reach a high proportion of contacts who can then take measures to protect themselves or others. And early on in this pandemic, even up until the Delta wave, we were able to find most people in that 5 to 7 day incubation period and have them isolate so that they wouldn't be at risk to others. But we now have a couple of things that have changed. One, this is highly infectious now, and it has a shorter incubation period, and many people will have mild or asymptomatic infections and not even realize that they are infected. And we have new and better interventions, including vaccines and now some treatments. So with the emergence of these more transmissible variants with shorter incubation periods, COVID-19 is no longer an infection for which contact tracing is an effective intervention.
So what happens when the next variant rolls along? We're just gonna, okay, well, it's all Omicron now. So okay, and Omicron is proven to be less deadly than Delta. That's great. More infectious, but less deadly. That's great. But we're just gonna. I mean, I get it. You got to act on what's happening at the moment. I get that. But where is the concern for the next variant? It's just over then, huh? No more variants? We've had a variant every 3 months. We're about due for one. It just doesn't seem very forward thinking. All right, this is a 5-minute clip that literally feels like it's 5 fucking hours. But let's finish it. She's got a minute and a half left. Let's see if we can fucking survive.
We now need to shift our management and think about the things that we can do across the board to prevent transmission and to prevent ourselves from being exposed. The number one most important one, of course, is vaccination. Self-management, so making sure we're managing our own symptoms, and testing of those who are eligible for treatment, and for testing of people who are living or working in higher risk settings. That's the change that we've been making over this past few weeks as we've learned more and more about Omicron and how it is different from the other strains of COVID that of SARS-CoV-2 that we've seen. I absolutely recognize this as a shift, and it means we have to change our way of thinking that we have been working on so intently together for the last 2 years.
So what happens, though? What happens when you got to do a 180, lady? So we're just like that. We're okay. No more masks. No more testing. How stupid are you going to look when there's another variant?
But we are all familiar with these new measures. They're much more like how we manage other respiratory illnesses, even influenza or RSV or enteroviruses that cause the common cold. We cannot eliminate all risk, and I think that's something that we need to understand and accept as this virus has changed and has become part of what we will be living with for years to come. But we can use all of the layers of protection to keep our workplaces, our schools, our healthcare, and other activities running as safely as possible.
You say safely as possible while you're restricting, while you're removing the measures that are keeping us safe. This is absolutely going to lead to more infections.
So at this time, everyone, all of us, needs to routinely check ourselves every day.
How can we check ourselves? You just said we can be asymptomatic and have it. Are you giving us tests?
Self-monitor. And if we have symptoms that might be COVID, that might be influenza, that might be a cold, we need to stay home till we feel better.
Are you going to give my employer money so that they can afford for me to stay home? No, it's going to be completely on me. Oh, thanks. Great. Whoa, this soft-spoken lady on TV told me I can stay home. Hey, your boss ain't gonna think that. Let's hear what the comments section has to say here. Because of the Omicron variant, Henry said the province is treating COVID more like the common cold. It's gonna pop some heads. Our Vancouver in shambles right now. Yeah, that is true. We have something here from our Vancouver here, and you can see there's definitely a difference in response. Here. Hopefully the rest of Canada will make this kind of realization soon as well. The virus isn't going anywhere, and we have to learn to live with it. Learn to live with it, huh? You know what that sounds like? Herd immunity. We have learned to live with it. I suspect you mean return to live as it was before COVID. I hope we get there too, but I'd rather do it correctly. Fucking men. We're in the end game now. Easier to trace people who don't have it at this point. Dominoes are going to fall one by one. Time to get rid of restrictions. Great. Great, so I got to ride the train with a bunch of no mask wearing sons of bitches. Awesome. All right, let's see what R. Vancouver here has to say. BC unveils new "what you don't know can't hurt anyone" COVID strategy. Kind of a different tone. Much like a quantum superstate only collapses when observed, it's the position of the BC government that no one has COVID unless they test positive. Since most people in BC won't be able to get tested, that means almost no one in BC has COVID. We're doing an excellent job containing this thing to those who've been tested, Dix continued. Comedy gold. It does seem kind of ass backwards, frankly. Oh, this is from the Beaverton. That makes sense. Beaverton's like the Onion. BC unveils new "what you don't know can't hurt anyone" COVID strategy. After weeks of struggling to adopt their approach to COVID in light of a large testing deficit and a completely unknown amount of infections within the population, the BC provincial government has announced a new plan that relies on everyone who can't get tested simply ignoring COVID and hope it goes away. That's what it sounded like to me. Sorry, that music's too loud. Quote, if you have symptoms of COVID but are not a senior and do not require hospitalization, we're just going to assume you don't have COVID, explained Provincial Health Minister Adrian Dix. It would be great if you stayed home until your symptoms resolved, but whatever. It's entirely up to you, and honestly, we really don't care. That's not a real quote, by the way. If there's no test proving you have COVID, you don't have it. Easy peasy. My God. My God, man. Capitalism makes even the most sensible of governments lose their fucking mind. While infectious disease experts are calling the province's decision to have no minimum self-isolation time for symptomatic adults reckless and horrifying, and a public health nightmare that will lead to symptomatic people infecting God only knows how many others, the health minister is adamant that as long as people remain untested and therefore their COVID is merely hypothetical, everything is fine. And we already read that. If you have been tested and the test was positive, you do have COVID, and might I say, congratulations on managing to get tested. Wow. How on earth did you swing that? Seriously, let me know. My throat is killing me. Let me tell you, last time I had to get tests, I had to wait in line for like 2 fucking hours. Okay? And I had to beg for the test when I got there. Oh, you don't seem to have any symptoms. Bitch, give me the test. At press time, Provincial Health Officer Dr. Bonnie Henry has officially changed her motto from "be kind, be calm, and be safe" to "ignorance is bliss." Obviously, this is, satire, but this does seem ass backwards. And what the fuck are these experts gonna say and do when the next variant rolls along? And don't tell me there's not going to be another variant. That's wishful thinking right there. That's wishful fucking thinking. I don't want to be right about this. I hope I'm dead wrong. I hope these people, are right and that we can get back to our normal lives. That's what I hope. Seems like a big fucking risk to be taken, but all right. Even the United States got a website. It only took them 2 years. It's hard making a website, guys. It's hard making a website. Oh. I don't know why I have this, so I won't get into this too much. But tragic news. 3 Canadian tourists shot at Mexican resort. At least 1 dead. Cartels, man. That's why I'm not going to Mexico. It's also a moral thing where I don't want to go to like a third world country, a resort at a third world country where they're being exploited. It's like, yeah, I'm bringing my big fat American dollars, big fat Canadian dollars to a third world country, it's just so I can spend them at the Hilton, while
While these, you know, 5 cents a day, 50 cents a day, people are serving me my drinks, and they got some little cordoned off resort area where it's safe for me to walk around, right? And the moment you leave that, what do you see? Abject poverty. I can't support that fucking industry. Bad enough is bad enough. I had to do my, I did my honeymoon out in Tahiti. Lucky me. Yeah, we get out there. It's exactly what it is. Some big fancy resort. They own the beach. Everyone's enjoying their time. You go take a walk outside and it's just shacks. People living off fucking 50 cents a day. I can't support that shit. This is great. Right here, this is great news. After learning about their rights about wage theft, workers at a Jack in the Box in Roseville, California, walked off the job on strike. Solidarity, baby. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. After learning about our rights and the law, we realized there's systemic wage theft at this location. One of the workers on strike has been a victim of wage theft for 17 years, and they get away with it. Sucking America dry. Paying people surf wages. Give you just enough to survive so you have enough gas in your car to come back the next day. Criminals. And it's the end result of unregulated capitalism. Capitalism doesn't treat humans like humans. Capitalism treats humans like cattle. Hell, there's probably cattle get treated better in some places. More shit about this COVID, whatever. This is great. This is an American dumbass, anti-masker, driving around in a truck. It's like one of those stupid Trump trucks. He's a trucker, but he's got his truck covered with fucking. God, are you fucking serious? He's got his truck covered with a bunch of anti-masker. And look at this guy. But look at his truck. Listen to this fucking music. Freedom 2020. Yeah, no, you're real proud of yourself. Real proud of yourself, dude. Yeah, pat yourself on the back. Listen to this pussy. Listen to this pussy and how he reacts to a Canadian official telling him, hey, buddy, you got to follow our laws here if you're coming through. All right, watch this. Look at that. Look at that. He fucking with his middle fucking finger. Oh, he's so fucking tough.
I can't touch that.
I can't touch that. Ooh.
Because.
Take it, bitch.
Sir, I did not violate you.
Placed in quarantine. These are also quarantine test kits. You're not going to take them?
There you go,
right,
bitch.
Now you just littered into my truck.
Quarantine for 14 days. Okay. You have to take those day 1 and 2 tests. You have been served several documents. Also, that mask does not meet the federal requirements for masking. So the next time, I'm giving you a warning on it today. The next time you come through, you'll be fine for having that mask. Okay?
Did you know?
Get the fuck out of here.
For you, sir.
Oh, bitch, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Absolute boss. Absolute boss. One more time. One more time from the boss man. You don't have to respect somebody flipping you off. And this little weak chin piece of shit thinks he's clever, reaching for his fucking paper with his fucking middle finger. I can't touch that. Fuck you. One more time. One more time from the top. Hello? TikTok? Thought you were a video playing service. Can you not play a 45-second clip? Oh, I got to refresh the whole fucking browser. Hello? Look at that.
I can't touch that because
take that, you piece of
sir,
shit.
I did not violate you.
Placed in quarantine. These are also quarantine test kits. You're not going to take them?
All right. Now you just littered into my truck.
Oh, you littered.
Okay. You have to take those day 1 and 2 tests. You have been served several documents. Also, that mask does not meet the federal requirements for masking. So the next time, I'm giving you a warning on it today. The next time you come through, you'll be fine for having that mask. Okay?
Did you know? I have a few questions for you, sir.
Boss. Fucking boss. Fucking boss level shit. Weak chin, son of a bitch, right? Oh, you're littering in my truck. Freedom 2022. The fuck out of here. The fuck out of here. More Kamala news. More Kamala news. Yay. Yay. She's doing such a great job. We're talking about the subject that I have on screen right now. Okay, if you have any relevant links or something you'd like me to cover, please come on by our Discord and submit that in the politics section so you can have that link ready for the next stream. Okay, I'm not really interested in derailing my entire fucking stream to talk about Nicaragua, which I don't know much about at the moment. But if you have some relevant information you'd like us to show, please come on the Discord and pop that into the politics section. I'll take a look, and we'll see if we can have that on the next show. Thank you so much.
Came out called Battle for the Soul, and it's like sort of a behind-the-scenes 2020 election book. And, man, there are some gems in there. So Crystal Ball tweeted this. In that book, Battle for the Soul, Kamala Harris is so vapid and vacuous and directionless, and she cares so little about policy that when she was already running for president, she kept referring to Medicare for all in speeches as Medicaid for all.
There's no fucking...
Guys, this is...
She's not doing it, okay? They're just words. They're just words to get you to shut up and vote for her. I think you need to get the fuck out of my stream. Thanks.
2019, 2020, Medicaid for all. Bernie popularized it. I mean, it's... The slogan and the policy has existed for a very long time, but Bernie really popularized it in 2015. And in 2019, you still didn't know it was Medicare for all? What does that show? Well, it shows
it's just words.
Exactly what we already knew about Kamala Harris, and the rest of the book bears this out as well. The whole thing was about narcissism. Yes. It was an ego trip. She would do these events for president. She'd give these speeches, and 100% of the commentary would be about her. You know, her life, her story, her family, me. She cared so little about policy that it was Medicaid for all. And so what did she do? And they explain this in the book, by the way. They say she had calculated nobody's even going to support Bernie, so it's good for me to hop in early. So she was the first person to sign on to Bernie's Medicare for all bill, but it was all a show.
It was total show. Thought, I remember her tepidly raising her hand during that debate with, that Bernie Sanders, I guess I support it. And then literally the next day already walking back her support for it. She doesn't believe in Medicare for all? She doesn't believe in that.
The credibility that I need with the base. If I sign on to this, Bernie's useless anyway. He's not going to make a run at it. Of course, Bernie destroyed Kamala Harris in the race, and Kamala miscalculated. But she signed on to it as a political strategy.
Yeah.
She didn't actually believe in it. She didn't really support it. She didn't even know it was called Medicare for all. She called it Medicaid for all repeatedly. And by the way, you ready for the scariest part? When she did this, it worked.
Yeah.
This strategy worked. This is when she was very high in the polls. When she jumped into the race and she pretended early on, I'm totally like Bernie, except I'm a young black woman. So therefore, why don't you vote for Bernie in a better package, a young black woman package? So she had the identity angle, and then she was pretending to have the policy angle, but really it was all a farce. It was all a farce. We also learned that her favorite line, "That little girl was me," where she went after Joe Biden, Totally pre-planned. Every aspect of that was they had a long debate beforehand, her and her staffers, about what to say and what to do. So in other words, everything you thought you knew about her is correct. Everything. Remember when she made her campaign about banning Trump from Twitter, and even Elizabeth Warren was like, seriously? This is your big thing? You think you're doing a gotcha of everybody else on stage by saying, I want to ban him. What about you? Directionless. And by the way, when she stopped playing that game of, I'm going to sign on to Bernie's stuff, when she realized Bernie was a real threat, she had to back away from all the stuff that she
did it immediately.
Co-signed with him. And so that's when she totally tanked in the polls because she was clearly not for Medicare for all. Again, she didn't even know it was called Medicare for all when she signed on to it. She thought it was Medicaid for all. Useless, narcissistic ego trip. She's exactly what everybody thought she was, which is why she's polling at 28%.
Yeah.
So imagine at this crucial point in American history and world history, we have people who have the ambition to be president with none of the actual moral and ethical vision and policy ideas. That is terrifying.
It is. It's totally terrifying. It totally is. It totally is. Because let me tell you, that vacuum is getting filled by fascists who do have a vision, a frightening vision, a terrifying vision. This is some good news, I guess. It's totally symbolic. But I'll take it, I guess. I'll take it, I guess. Yes, I'll take it. But Arizona Democrats are censoring, not censor, okay, not censor, okay, but censure, which is a symbolic gesture that basically says the rest of us don't agree with you. We don't agree with what you're doing. Even though you have a D next to your name, the rest of us Democrats in Arizona totally disagree with your actions. Totally symbolic. Doesn't affect her at all. Right. But at least it says we disagree with you. So, good news, everyone. Wow. Got him. I think her corporate sponsor is going to be the ones punishing her for her change her mind. I really don't think she gives a fuck what the party thinks. That's true. Yo, what up, Zion? How you doing? No chance of winning re-election equals no corporate sponsors equals nobody gives a damn about Kristen anymore. Yeah, I don't know if that's the case. By all historical precedent, the Republicans will take control of the House and the Senate in 12 months. Sinema isn't up for election for another 36 fucking months. By the time she had to face a primary, the filibuster will be the DNC's best friend, and Sinema will be able to say she was forward-thinking. And anytime you're feeling good about yourself, go ahead and enter the Reddit comment section to get brought down a peg, because that's a great point. That's an excellent point by Bedhead. Thanks, Bedhead. I think if Republicans take back the Senate this year, the filibuster will be dead and in a museum. Possibly. The Democrats tried to get it done. The Republicans will use that as an excuse to actually get it done. Sure. This is the News Underground. We're a progressive activist channel dedicated to informing people, because it's a 3-step program to create political change. Step 1, inform yourself. Step 2, join a political progressive organization in your area, like this one right here. Join the May Day strike coming up. Then step 3, put in the work. Get your ass out in the streets, okay? Make some signs, make some phone calls, donate some money, do fucking something. Because the only way we're going to create real progressive change in this country is with nonviolent, direct political action. So that's what the fuck we're about, Zion. Yeah, great. Kristen Sinema. Fuck you. On to the next one. This is interesting. Fox News is taking some attention to the anti-work subreddit on Reddit. The subreddit that's blowing up right now. It's interesting, right? Because we're talking about a May Day strike here, and people are inadvertently participating in class warfare against the oligarchy by participating in anti-work and communicating with each other and realizing that we're getting completely fucked. So that's pretty interesting. Let's go ahead and have a watch. Look, look, Mr. Zion, you want to get violent? That's perfectly fine, because you know what? We represent as nonviolent. We get out there as nonviolent. They're going to bring the violence to us. So whether we're nonviolent or not, violence is going to occur. But we need the moral authority, the progressive party, the progressive, political activist movement needs to represent and defend nonviolent action, because we need the moral authority. Okay? You can't tell people how to live without the moral authority, right? You need that moral high ground. Okay? So if you want violence, don't you fucking worry. Get out in the streets. They'll bring it to you. The stormtroopers will bring it to you. Okay? But the movement needs to represent nonviolent, direct political action. We don't need to smash a window to make a point. Okay? But don't you worry. They'll be shooting us with rubber bullets, shooting us with tear gas, beating us with billy clubs, enabling the right-wing fascists that come to counter-protest us, strapped up to the fucking nines. But don't you fucking worry. It will get violent. But not because we incite it. Because it's been brought to us. Let's take a look at these fucking fascists and friends. Talk about the anti-work movement. This ought to be good.
The key to success, working hard or hardly working. Some Reddit users say...
That's it. Isn't that great? In the first 5 seconds, that's all you need to hear. That's all you need to fucking hear. Oh, everyone in America hates working now. We hate working for fucking shit wages. Okay? Oh, those are fast food jobs. You don't deserve a living wage. Bitch says who?
Say the latter, as an anti-work thread, emerges as one of the social network's most engaged pages. That's sad. Encouraging people.
Yeah, that's sad. No one wants to work for serf wages anymore. Gee, how am I supposed to extract massive amounts of wealth from poor and, impoverished people? How am I supposed to take advantage of people when they're expecting fair wages? That's going to affect my profits. That's so sad.
To quit their jobs or do the absolute minimum to get by at work while still taking a paycheck. Where does America's work ethic go? Can we get it back? Let's ask Fox and Friends Weekend.
Work ethic. These are some of the hardest working sons of bitches on the fucking planet, you piece of shit. Where's the work ethic? Fucking work these nuts.
Pete Hegseth. Pete.
Now, fuck you. I can't even look at these sons of bitches. Motherfuck both of you. Get them the fuck off my screen. Get him the fuck off my screen. I can't even stand to look at him. Talking about can't even stand to look at him. This is just gross. This is just gross. When confronted with the failure of her fucking party, why do people interview this woman? Her literal job is to lie. That is her literal job, is to obfuscate, spin, and lie. Okay, for a failure of a neoliberal administration. This is her suggestion to people who are disappointed that they weren't able to pass voting rights.
Fighting. Look, I think this week has been frustrating, devastating, angering, all of those things. And everybody who's been fighting for this, there's so many activists across the country.
Yeah, that you do nothing but fight and push back on and tone police. Oh, we can't get that now. You better wait. Oh, what's the centrist point of view on things? We've been pushed so far to the right. These people talk about Reaganomics with fucking sparkles in their eyes. They talk about trickle down like it's the new normal. Neoliberals. Supposed Democrats. Oh, yeah, these are the same people that are nostalgic for the Bush era.
Who have been so central to getting to this point. I mean, just a year ago, there were more people who were opposed to filibuster changes in the Senate. So we've made some progress on that front.
Wow,
we've got to stay at it.
guys.
So my advice to everyone out there who's frustrated, sad, angry, pissed off, feel those emotions, go to a kickboxing class, have a margarita, do whatever you need to do this weekend, and then wake up on Monday morning. We got to keep fighting.
If we keep fighting the way you fuckers keep fighting, it'll be 50 years before we even get a voucher for health care. To be changed is that we just act peacefully enough and only resist on their terms within the laws, and they treat us with it. No, exactly, Zion, exactly. Hey, you know what? How about you gobble my nuts? Enjoy your band, bitch. You think I give a fuck? You think I give a fuck about what your opinion is? Enjoy your fucking band. Get the fuck out of my face, bitch. Trying to derail my stream, asking me non sequitur questions about shit that's not even, we're not even fucking talking about. I gave you an opportunity. I gave you an invite to the Discord. I said, come on in. Put some links in the politics section. I'll take a look. And you just sit there. Well, tell me about some other thing. You should tell me about this. Why don't you tell me about that? Why don't you gobble these fucking balls? People coming to my fucking stream telling me how I gotta fucking live. Tell me how I gotta fucking cover shit. Start up your own stream, you dumbass. The fuck out of my face. God damn. Arrogant sons of bitches. Arrogant sons of bitches coming in my stream telling me what I gotta cover, how I gotta cover it. You're not, you don't want a conversation. You just want to hear your own voice. Tell me about this. Tell me about this thing then. You're so smart. Be gone. So I wanted to show this clip right here because there's apparently major carjacking happening. You know, it's like an epidemic. Am I spelling this right? Probably not. It probably did not spell that correctly. Let's see. But no, there's quite an issue with carjacking happening across the nation, but happening in, oh, I did. Hey, congratulations. Yay, good for me. I spelled something correctly. Hey, thank you. Thank you so much, me. Yeah, I pushed that button. But no, apparently this is really happening. But how does the media cover it? That's my question. How do they cover it, right? Do they go over the issues of, why people are so desperate that they would be doing this? The economics, right, of poverty and crime. Do they go into that? No. Let's take a look and see what the mainstream media's, and of course this is Fox News, right? But this is local Fox News, right, which basically represents the mainstream dogma. But let's see what their solution is, right? Because I'm sure their solution is to, look back and see, okay, well, what is actually causing this desperation? What is actually causing this? These extremely poor and desperate children, basically these are teenagers, to resort to such extreme crimes, to stick a gun in someone's face and steal their fucking car, right? Surely they're going to look at the causes of this and have a real substantive conversation about what could possibly be done. What legislation, what regulations, people need more jobs, people need healthcare, people need education, right? So I'm sure this is going to be a nice substantive conversation about what could possibly be done to fix the actual root causes of this, issue. This is not good. We don't want people committing crimes. I don't support carjacking people. I think that should say, you're probably carjacking another poor person. You know what I mean? So let's see here. I'm sure the mainstream media is going to give us a fair and balanced look at this. I mean, they are Fox News. This is fair and balanced, right?
Iowa City is dealing with a carjacking crisis, the number on the rise since last year. And in recent weeks, we're seeing cases where people are actually starting to fight back with fists and guns. Our Jeff Cole is live at police headquarters with more on this. Jeff.
I guess those are the good guys with guns, right? When you're in such a desperate state that you'd carry a gun in your car so that you can get to work on time.
Yeah, there certainly is a trend that people are actually shooting carjackers allegedly as they come up on them. Look, Don, there is no debate that in this city there has been an explosion of carjacking, certainly not just here, but across the country, truly. But at least in the city of Philadelphia, there seems to be some sort of a debate tonight over who is actually doing the carjackings and how those people should be dealt with against this dangerous trend.
Yeah, no, I mean, surely we're going to have an analysis of the, social issues that are creating such desperation, right?
Circles of chalk mark the stretch of Mount Airy's Cherokee Street where bullets flew in what police say was another attempted carjacking by a teenager against a motorist who shot back.
It's an epidemic in Philadelphia, really all over.
Carjacking.
Carjackings.
By kids.
Yeah, right. Teenagers, barely teenagers.
Investigators say a 60-year-old man licensed to carry a gun fired Thursday night on an armed 16-year-old who tried to carjack him.
He fired multiple shots, and he was confident that he did strike the individual that pulled a gun on him and pointed it to his face.
The teenager was wounded and later arrested.
Don't get me wrong, that old man had every right to defend himself. Crime only flows one way. Violence from the top down is legal, but just part of the day-to-day with this shit, of course, an atrocity committed by savages. Well, I don't know, Zion. I mean, come on. We got about a minute and a half left of this clip. Surely they're going to get into the social ills and nuance that, that are creating this systemic issue. I mean, surely it would be something more than just flipping a switch and listening to some rap music and going, yay, carjacking sound like fun. I want to be a criminal. I mean, surely they're going to get into, what would actually cause a child basically to be so desperate that they would stick a gun in someone's face and steal their car, right? Of course, right? I mean, come on. We live in a sane and sensible world.
The incident adds to the startling 91 carjackings police say have occurred in the first 2 weeks of the new year, and it's at least the third time motorists have shot their alleged carjackers. Police Commissioner Danielle Outlaw appearing this morning on Good Day Philadelphia.
What's the solution?
I don't have an issue with people that are legally carrying firearms. These are the folks that know the law. These are the folks that train with their weapons. They know how to properly store them.
But police do it.
Second Amendment defense. All right, yep. People do have the right to defend themselves. Okay, we got that out of the way.
Have a problem with what they argue is the lenient handling of teenage carjackers in the juvenile court system.
This is the solution, guys. This is right here. This is the solution. People should just buy a house. Then they'd stop being homeless. Guy who disagrees. Well, you love to eat ass. Good for you, buddy. And thank you for that follow, Zion. Appreciate it. The solution is that they need to buy houses, obviously. Come on.
A deputy police commissioner says nearly 60 juveniles were arrested for carjacking last year, and a lot of the cases have fallen into the juvenile court.
We need to see these offenders start to stay in adult court and be prosecuted as adults. And
yeah, that's the solution, guys. Yeah, desperate child, barely a teenager, sticks a gun in someone's face. Let's go ahead and treat that child like an adult and throw him away in a cell for the rest of his life. That's going to fix it. Welcome back, by the way, nicknames. Good to see you.
And send the message, and that's going to be really important.
Yeah, that's really important, guys. That'll send a message, right? That'll send a message, right? To a child who doesn't know any fucking better. Oh boy, golly gee, guys, did you hear there's going to be ramifications for our actions if we do this? And so they wouldn't have to jack him. Yeah, no, obviously we just need to give, they just need, why would they jack a car? Why don't they just buy one?
Spokesperson for DA Larry Krasner agrees with the 60 juvenile arrests, but argues fewer than half of the people arrested for carjackings are juveniles, and adds police make so few carjacking arrests. What's clear is carjackings have jumped across the country during the pandemic, leaving communities in fear.
Gee, what could be causing this epidemic? You know what would fix this epidemic? Harsher jail sentences. Right? Because that has worked so far. That has worked so well. I mean, obviously, we just got to crank it up just a little bit more. Let's treat more children like adults, man. Let's get those kids in the jail system. That will fix it.
There was a shootout between this 60-year-old male and one of the two individuals that were committing the carjacking.
That's right. There was actually a shootout in Mount Airy last night around carjacking.
Wow.
The DA's
Good
office
guys with
says it
guns.
has opened some 125 carjacking cases against adult defendants, they said, in 2021, while the police department argues that it believes these juvenile offenders doing carjackers know that they can hang out in the juvenile court system.
Disgusting. Disgusting. The Fox News solution to the problem of systemic poverty. People so desperate that as a teenager, you'd pick up a gun, stick it in someone's face, and take their car. Well, the solution is clearly to just throw them in a cell and throw away the key. That'll fix it. How well is that working for us? How many hundreds of people we got in this private fucking prison system getting raped? Yeah, raped. Look at the rape statistics. That's the solution. Yeah. Great. Doing it, killing it, guys. Fucking totally killing it, dudes. Back to some Canadian news here. This is too good. You're gonna want to watch this, okay? Because even if you don't live in Canada, you can appreciate what this guy is saying, you know, because you can appreciate getting, you know, this asshole getting called out for his fucking complete failure. Doug Ford over here. All right. So yeah, even if you don't live in Canada, trust me, you're gonna want to watch this one. This is just entertaining for its own right. Art made in America, no less. Can I get an amen? Hell yeah, brother. Hey, hell yeah. These motherfuckers are hanging out in the juvenile system. Yeah, no. The solution. Look, what we got to do is get them in the adult system and then put them in a dark cell for the rest of their lives. Problem solved, guys. Problem solved. That'll deter other poor, desperate people from committing crimes. Right? Because when you're hungry, when you're starving for liberty and justice, yeah, you give a shit about the consequences, right? A cornered animal really gives a shit about the consequences, right? And I'm not saying the people that are committing the crimes are animals, okay? Just making a comparison. Look, you put a human being in a corner. You think that person's going to give a shit about the consequences when they start swinging? That's what's happening to poor people in this country, is that they're put in a fucking corner. And the solution is not to throw them away and throw away the key. That is not the fucking solution to this problem. The solution is to do a deep dive into what are the causes of this class disparity. What are the causes of this economic savagery? It's capitalism. To be clear, I'm not a communist, okay? Okay, you don't need to be a communist to accept and see the faults of capitalism. Okay? If we want to enjoy the benefits of capitalism, we need to understand the dangers of capitalism. Okay? The solution is not to, run human beings through the gears of capitalism so that their blood can oil it. Disgusting. But anyway, trust me, you're going to want to watch this because this guy fucking destroys Doug Ford. This is good shit. This is good shit. Think of Doug Ford as any failed politician in your local area, okay? And then you'll appreciate where this guy's coming from. Juvenile system is like a Care Bear community center. This has got to stop. United Prison Sisters they really do need to buckle down. That'll show them. That'll show the poor, desperate people in the streets. That'll show them.
He used a disaster in this city and in a large part of this province as a cheap political stunt.
God damn is what I said after watching this video. So this is Sid Seixeiro, a morning co-host on breakfast television on City News in Toronto, talking about Ontario Premier Doug Ford, who yesterday during a crazy snowstorm here in Ontario went out on a PR stunt to shovel some snow. Now, this is incredibly rare. Understand how rare it is to see a Canadian broadcaster actually have an opinion on politics and not hold back. I honestly can't think of another time where I've seen something like this. I mean,
as we saw earlier with that woman, from BC talking about COVID, it's we're gonna talk real quiet and real safe. You know, it's so yeah, that is kind of what you get from a lot of political commentary here in Canada. It's to say it's not edgy is an understatement.
Have conservative radio hosts, you know, sometimes go off on their AM radio shows, but in terms of an actual legitimate, real critique of a politician, this is, I mean, unmatched. So check this out. I'm going to play the full thing here. I can't cut this down, so it's about 4 minutes long.
This is
but
amazing.
it is fantastic.
Oh,
So Doug Ford went out in Snowmacron yesterday, and not the biggest shovel I've ever seen.
No,
But
it's not the biggest.
I have to say, listen, first off, anyone who helped anyone yesterday, and there were a lot of people that needed help.
Look, I mean, that is the reality, Zion. Okay, and if we want to, you know, if we're going to work within this capitalist system, we need to accept its faults and the fact that it treats human beings like cattle. Okay, because the longer we ignore that reality, the longer we suffer. Okay, all right. You only get to benefit it if you're at the very fucking top, okay? And the whole system depends on very few people being at the very top and a whole lot of people being exploited.
It was a great thing.
Heroes. Legit.
It was a great thing.
Wow.
Legit. Because nobody wants to be out there longer than they have to be.
True.
So that's truly caring for your neighbor. Yes.
I believe my niece had a similar sized shovel yesterday
From
when
the
she went
beach.
outside.
Okay.
No, but listen, credit to the premier for helping a few people out. I don't mind that at all because I'm quarantining here. I couldn't do a damn thing.
Yeah. You can't.
I mean, and look at the shitty job that he did. Look at this. He didn't dig that car out. He fucking moved some snow over here. And this guy, dude, it's such a fucking blatant photo op.
I don't mind that at all because I'm quarantining here. I couldn't do a damn thing.
Yeah. You can't.
Here's my issue. Yesterday, and I'm going to say this loudly for the people in the back that might have missed it, because there was a lot going on yesterday. Poll numbers for Doug Ford's approval across the province came out. He's at his lowest compared to any other time he's been premier. 30% of people in the province of Ontario, according to Angus Reid, approve of the job he's doing. So on that day, yesterday, a disaster in the city of Toronto and in various parts around it. Doug Ford went out in a car and called a TV station live and FaceTimed while driving in a snowstorm. That's not only dangerous, but I find it ironic considering for months he would avoid questions from the media because he wasn't tech savvy enough and couldn't go on Zoom. I found that to be rich. Then there's videos circulating all over social media yesterday of complete strangers with no mask getting in the premier's car. Did they need help? Yes, they did. No one's wearing a mask. It's like the Amazing Race people jumping in and out of his car. And those videos are circulating like crazy. And on top of it, considering that this premier's gone MIA for months during the darkest points of this pandemic, the second he called every media outlet for attention on this, we followed him like lemmings, and it was disgusting. He used a disaster in this city, and in a large part of this province,
cynical photo op.
As a cheap political stunt, the day numbers came out which showed he's barely more popular than Kathleen Wynne.
Very
and
unpopular.
she was hated by the time she left office. I'm offended that he used that for a political stunt. I'm offended that colleagues of mine in this business didn't have enough sense and followed him along for the ride when he barely wants to talk to any of us in the media and then wants attention that day. And I really hope people paid attention to that. I was born, but not yesterday.
Yeah.
I know exactly what that was on a day where people needed legit help, and he used it as a photo op. And I hope people saw that for what it was. People sitting in their car. You want to really help? There's about 3 dozen tractor trailers on the 401, Premier. You want to take that shovel built for a child, you go down there and help out.
I thought you were going to say something else would take that shovel and you. Hey-oh! I'm going to tell you this, Sid. Hashtag Canadian Media Failed was also trending yesterday because they were shaming all of us for not saying what you just did. So what you're saying is you want to help your neighbor like many, many, many people did yesterday altruistically because you care.
You're spot on, Zion.
You want to turn it into a PR stunt and not say, perhaps I was overzealous and I did break a few rules and I was distracted driving myself. I shouldn't have done that. Own up to all that, and maybe there's that path to forgiveness then. But just the shutout of it all, and let's just carry on and only praise when anybody else would have been in big trouble, fined, et cetera, in a pandemic, no less. Like you said, sitting in a car cheek to cheek, sending out an IG reel. Maybe we all got to check ourselves a little bit. And yes, send your love to Ed Sixero, if I could say your name.
Beauty queens. I've just.
Yeah, okay, beauty queens. Yeah. So, you know, that's just cynical politicians. I mean, he's been totally silent. You know, he's one of those remove all the restrictions on COVID sons of bitches. Like right in the middle of the pandemic, he was talking about removing all restrictions during Delta. You know, no. So the first time we hear from him is when he gets his little fucking he gets his little tiny little shovel, moves a couple, and then come on, dude, it is such a fucking blatant, cynical, political photo op. It really is disgusting. I'm really glad to see him getting called out for it in mainstream media here in Canada. So here we go. Speaking of communists, we got one of the communists I respect the most, the one that totally took a shit, that totally took a fucking fat fucking shit, all over Destiny when Destiny had the gall to debate Richard Wolff. Debate Richard Wolff? That wasn't a debate, dude. That was a class. Okay? That was a fucking master class. Okay? If Destiny should have been taking notes. Instead, what the fuck was he doing? What the fuck was Destiny doing? I'm folding his arms, trying to do a gotcha. Talking over him. Talking over Richard fucking Wolff. Respected economist Richard Wolff. Trying to teach you some shit, their Destiny. That was such a fucking laughable joke. Sometimes when I want to cheer myself up, I think about the kind of fucking spanking Destiny got from Richard Wolff. That was embarrassing. That was embarrassing. That was like when fucking Ben Shapiro went on the BBC. Right? Remember that shit? You're a liberal. You're a liberal. Talking to the most conservative son of a bitch on BBC. The facts over feelings. Then the motherfucker gets so ruffled he has to leave early. Fuck Destiny. So here we go. Sending out their IG reel. We have to check ourselves. Canadians are just the best. No, I mean, well, we're not perfect. And I'm not a Canadian yet. I'm a permanent citizen. I'm a citizen of the United States trying to become a citizen here in Canada. Definitely not perfect. Let me tell you, the corruption of the Trudeau government is unbelievable when it comes to housing, when it comes to oil, when it comes to many other factors, right? One thing that Canadians do, though, is that they're more forgiving. You know? They're more forgiving of it. And frankly, people are suffering, okay? You can't buy a house in this country. You can't buy a house in this country, dude. You work 40 hours a week. You're solid middle class. Good luck getting more than a shack. Good luck getting more than a shack. I'm half tempted to buy a fucking trailer. Anyway, we got Thom Hartmann, true OG. Anyone who knows, I'm not the biggest Thom Hartmann fan of the world here, but respect where respect is due. Okay. Definitely an OG in the progressive news space. If you've been following news as long as I have, Thom Hartmann's been a voice that is mainly correct. I mean, but let's be real. During the Bernie Hillary era, during that Bernie Hillary shit, he was doing I don't know, maybe Elizabeth Warren's better. I don't know. Maybe let's look at this Elizabeth Warren character. I'm kidding. Same shit, different flag. Better insurance. You know the drill. Yeah. Yeah. No. Thom Hartmann absolutely deserves criticism. But, Lee, would you take Thom Hartmann over, Wolf Blitzer? Would you take Thom Hartmann over Joanne Reed? Would you take Thom Hartmann over The View? You know what I mean? So, in terms of gradations, he's somewhere in there, more to the left, okay? But it's just, caveat there. But, at the same time, yeah, right? Yes, and yes. Okay, now you're just being silly, dog. Come on. Ain't no progressive out here going to take Joyanne Reed over Tom Hartman. Wolf Blitzer over Tom Hartman? Homie, chill the fuck out. All right? I'd take Tom Hartman any day of the week over CNN or MSNBC. Okay? Come on. Let's come back to earth here. But this is a good interview with Tom Hartman and Professor Richard Wolff.
Professor Wolff, welcome back to the program. I'm curious, there's all this talk about Donald Trump, you know, the election's getting rigged, and Donald Trump or somebody like him.
Yes, they do. Okay, so let's be honest. Let's be honest, Lee. Okay, let's be honest about it. Tom Hartman ain't perfect. Okay, like I said, big Warren supporter. All right. But I'd rather watch the Tom Hartman show than Rachel Maddow.
A neo-fascist Republican. You know, a Tom Cotton, a Josh Hawley, a Ron DeSantis becoming president in 2024 and effectively ending the American experiment of democracy, or what's left of it, and replacing it with kind of neo-fascist strongman economics that would make America look more like Hungary or Russia or perhaps the Philippines. What would that mean? What does that look like from an economist's point of view?
I know. Richard Wolff, literally the last man on earth with a fucking landline. And they got a video set up. So, I mean, that tells me that, you know, the poor guy. Look, Richard Wolff, you're a big fan of the show. You watch the News Underground all the time, I'm sure. I'm an IT guy, okay? Let me help you. Look, you want it. This is what you need right here, buddy. A nice Jabra headset, plug in through USB. You'll come in nice and clear. Nice and clear. Okay, get yourself a little Yeti mic. Let me help you, Richard Wolff. Yeah, it is very good. Welcome back, Cosmic Protocol. It's good to see you. The fucking OG's coming back to the stream. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You wanted real news? You found it. You found the underground. Welcome. Welcome back. But yeah, no, big props to Richard Wolff and Lee. I mean, I don't support communism. I don't know if I'd ever give Richard Wolff money. But with that said, I would never talk over Richard Wolff. I would never interrupt him. I would listen intently. And I would, you know, I'd respect his opinions. Okay. Unlike Destiny, unlike this fucking piece of shit. Don't know Tom fellow, but it looks very similar to Elizabeth Warren. He kind of... I support communism. I know you do, Lee. We're going to have to respectfully disagree on that, okay? Richard Wolff is absolutely... He calls himself a... Doesn't he call himself like a Marxist or something? Hold on. Let's Richard Wolff Wikipedia here. Pretty sure. Yeah, an American Marxian economist, homie. So you might want to rethink that, Cosmo. I know when he speaks in his interviews, you have a hard time, you know, telling, you know, that he's a communist. But look, here's the thing about communism. Okay, I don't fully agree with communists and communism, but if you ever wanted a critique on capitalism, you ever wanted to know what the okay, now we're getting into fucking the fucking. We're really gonna have this? All right, okay, yeah, no, commies are always fucking doing this. Communists are always doing this. Oh, we're not this, we're that. We're just own it. Own it. Own it. Well, the gradations, okay. All right. All right. No, we're a big fan of nuance here at the News Underground. Okay, so I gotta accept that's very true what you guys are saying. At the same time, my effort is to try and reach the layman, try to reach the mass here. Okay, that doesn't mean that we should be inaccurate in what we say. But come on, communists, come on, Marxists, come on, own it here. Don't try to get into the semantics of it. Kindred Spirit, thank you for that follow. Looks like you love to eat ass. Congratulations. Good for you. Anyway, Wolff recognized that part of private society owns the means of production. That is good. Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's... look, this is, you know, here's the thing. You know, if Americans want communism, Americans should have the right to choose communism. What is true liberty if you're not able to pick your own government and how your government is run? Okay? So back to what I was saying, though. You ever wanted a solid critique on capitalism? Talk to a communist, Marxist, right? Talk to a guy like Richard Wolff, okay? Because they will, nobody. It's like how an atheist knows more about the Bible than most Christians. You know what I mean? You ever want a good critique of Christianity? Go ahead and talk to an atheist. The same thing with communism. Look, and I cannot deny the absolute horror of capitalism. It's happening right before me. Only capitalism could see a sick person and see a profit opportunity. Only in a capitalist system could you see a drug addict and say, oh, we need to destroy that person. We need to throw that person away. Right? So that's why I respect Richard Wolff, because I want to understand the faults of capitalism so that I can fix them, so that we can regulate them, right, and correct them. Now, if eventually we correct capitalism with enough, communistic or Marxist or socialistic alternatives or regulations that we churn capitalism into some other beast completely, I'm okay with that. Rules by exploitation and force and infinite growth on a finite planet, just like capitalism, except and move forward. Back to my main line, Rich and Elizabeth. Look, I don't know if it's that simple, Zion. I honestly feel like we should just hybridize capitalism with socialism. Just keep melding the two until we create a new ism. Some kind of new paradigm here. Obviously, we can't go full capitalism. Obviously, we can't go full communism. I don't think either of those extreme solutions is the answer. I think a hybridized solution is where we need to move forward. Right? And when you think about it, that's what we're already doing with our, K through 12 education. That's a socialist idea. Police being totally funded by the government. That's pretty socialist. Firefighters being totally funded by the government. Right? When firefighters were first introduced, it was a capitalist idea, and you bought a fucking subscription. That didn't last very long. No, we had to replace it with a socialist idea for it to work properly. Okay, and that's just a fact. So we need to keep hybridizing capitalism with socialism until we create a new monster, right? A new ism. Anyway, let's get back to it.
How different are the economics of modern day fascism or authoritarianism from the economics of what we might call democracy, and what will it mean for the average person?
Well, I think it's unfortunately a question whose time has come, and you're right to ask it.
So let's say you have to read an incredibly long email.
I'm sorry, everybody. I'm a broke-ass son of a bitch. Sorry.
Two ways to look at this: the potential of what might happen, and then a little bit of a look at what has happened over recent years when Bolsonaro in Brazil, or the Philippines, or Turkey, or Modi in India, or even Boris Johnson in England, what those have amounted to in terms of economic policy. And I think the remarkable thing is not much. In other words, these are people who are specialists in political theater.
Yeah.
They cash in on the mass of people who are justifiably angry at what has been going on for the last 30 or 40 years, and above all, the massive transfer of wealth from the middle and the bottom to the folks at the top. That is the number one issue. They say and do absolutely nothing to stop it, let alone to reverse it. What they do specialize in is what I think we call in this country culture wars, or in other places cash in on immigrant scapegoating or religious controversies or secondary issues in people's mind that become primary because you're not allowed in these societies to talk about the basic issue. So I think the answer is mostly it's marginal. if a Trump type got elected here, there's no reason to believe that he would do any or she would do anything different from what Trump did. Lots of theater, lots of noise, lots of posturing. But in the end, the economic development of this country went on. The inequality got worse. The instability got worse. And my guess is these are not people who ever figured out what the problems in economics are. They've never shown the slightest courage in confronting the problem of a system that doesn't work. So they will make adjustments here and there. When I thought to myself how to answer your question, the only area I thought might come out is that Mr. Trump and people like him enjoy being naughty around ecological questions. So they would, encourage coal or encourage fossil fuels or make light of ecological problems and give maybe those industries a bit of a boost. But in the larger picture of our society, other than that one ecological question, my guess is much more.
Yeah, that's a great point, Cosmic. That's a great point. And that's what I think, because that just seems to be the natural order of things, right? What we that just seems to be what we're doing already. And that seems like people seem, that seems to be the best worst idea, right? Because there's no perfect idea. They're all shit ideas, if you ask me, because at the end of the day, people still end up suffering when we follow these ideas. But this seems to be the path of pain mitigation, which is let's hybridize these things, right?
More drama, much more noise, but the underlying economic problems we have will continue to get worse. That is what happened in Brazil or India. And in the end, by the way, these folks end up usually, like Trump did here and like Boris Johnson is doing literally as we speak in England, they self-destruct in the theatric because underlying change hasn't happened, and that's in the end what got them in.
When I was writing the hidden history of American oligarchy, I did a deep dive into Viktor Orban, the guy who's running Hungary right now. He has, over the last 10 years, flipped Hungary from being a NATO member, a member of the European Union, a full-blown functioning democracy, into a kind of Russia-like autocracy. And one of the first things he did when he took power was to use the power of the state to essentially drive small businesses, to harass small businesses, long, extended tax audits, personal attacks, basically forcing small businesses to sell out to Orban's cronies. He had a kind of a kitchen cabinet like Reagan had of big business guys around him. They are all now fabulously rich. They started out just being, Hungary's modestly rich, and so most all of the small business now in Hungary that has any value at all has been sucked up with the connivance of the state by these oligarchs. It has shifted the,
Hold on, is that a real word? Hold on, Tom Hartman. You giving me that connivance? Oh, it is a real word. Shit, dude. Willingness to secretly allow or be involved in wrongdoing. Wow, okay, we learned something new today. Yay, hey, everybody. Oh. Learning is fun. I like learning. Connivance, that's a new one.
By shifting the economic power or the political power, they've shifted the economic power, and now it's become a self-reinforcing loop where these people are openly, your telephone company supports Orban and will listen in on your calls. Your media is now all owned by Orban allies. Stores and department stores are not only owned by Orban allies, but have big pictures of him in the stores like they used to do with Stalin, this kind of thing. Would you expect that sort of thing to happen here if somebody like Trump got the White House again and had really serious control over things like this?
Under one set of circumstances, that could happen here, and it's the same set that produced this in Hungary. If you have a guy like that come in, if you have someone come in who comes in by the skin of his teeth, by hook or by crook, who is very worried that the political base he has is not strong enough to sustain him, then the only way he can be secure is to provide something to at least a portion of the society that's already powerful, that is so attractive to them that they will in turn give him the political support he wants.
Yeah.
And what Orban did is he found that. He found that in the cronies, you call them, quite rightly. He found that in big business that was emerging after the Hungarians were no longer part of the Eastern European bloc there. He said to them, I can help you become a dominant monopolizing force here. We can do it at the expense of the small businesses, but you have to fund me. I will provide the big political theater, and in Hungary's case, it was anti-immigration that did it. I'll get the mass of people at least for a while. That'll be enough time for me to make you super rich.
Any of this sound familiar about, what's happening, what happened during the Trump administration? And, it happens, but in a softer sense during the neoliberal administrations. But you can bet when Ron DeSantis wins in 2024, or whatever right-wing fascist wins in 2024, this is going to be the playbook that they play off of.
And you fund me. Could that happen here? Yes. If someone got in who knew clearly that the mass of the American people had little patience, even if he got voted in or she got voted in, and they had to make a big effort to build a political base, yeah, they would offer to do for the oil companies or for high tech or whatever sectors they found friendly exactly what was done for Orban. They would extinguish others, fund those who in turn fund them, and you get the kind of what is called in many parts of the world crony capitalism as the result. Not that we don't already have it here, but it would be a much sharper form of that, and the ins would become very wealthy, and the outs would face a kind of slow death so long as that kind of thing stayed in power.
So the only thing I would dare to even attempt to push back on his statements here is that the if and the maybes and the if like the what was the word here?
So long as that kind of thing would become very well.
Would like the woulds and the ifs and the no, it's happening right now. It's happening. Look at Rupert Murdoch. Look at the power that the oil lobbies have. Look at the power that the gun lobbies have. It's not an if. It's happening right now. Right. It's happening it's happening slowly. But all it'll take is one Ron DeSantis to come on in. And boom, 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 we got a full acceleration of these things that are already happening in front of us, right? So that's the only thing that I would push back on Richard Wolff there. Never forget the spanking that Richard Wolff gave Destiny. Never forget. I'm rock hard thinking about that fucking spanking that he gave Destiny. You want some entertainment? Go ahead and type that shit into Google one day, huh? Destiny versus Richard Wolff. I don't like that debate bro shit. But I tuned in for that one because I was like, oh, wait a minute. This isn't some fucking MAGA idiot jackass sitting in his fucking mom's basement, talking about how we need, liberals trying to take away our guns, even though they're not doing a fucking thing about gun regulation. No. This is an actual educated academic versus a StarCraft player. And yeah, it was as embarrassing as you can as you would expect it to be. A joke. And it's a joke that man makes money every single day off his fucking ridiculously easily fooled audience. Donate money to Destiny? Fucking why? Why? I couldn't imagine. Couldn't imagine giving money to him. Go back over here to Kakistan, just to follow up on some of the coverage we've already done on the show here. With Kakistan, I thought this was kind of interesting to get Al Jazeera's point of view on the situation. Al Jazeera is not perfect. No news channel is perfect. They all got their own biases, including Al Jazeera. Let's be real. But at the same time, they do some really great reporting, and Al Jazeera is one of the few actual news agencies that will often go on the ground and do on the ground reporting in some of these Middle Eastern countries. Right? So, yeah, grain of salt, just like everything else. But you know, I think I want to hear their opinion on what's happening in Kakistan, which is you know, it's just a very complicated situation. There's a legitimate protest movement that is, you know, somewhat being catalyzed by American intelligence agencies, and then we have Russia, you know, backing up the dictatorial power of the current regime, or the current. I mean, look, I'll let Al Jazeera fill you in on what's happening here, but you know, basically, at the end of the day, it's Russia showing that, you know, look, we don't care if you're a dictator, just like America doesn't give a shit if you're a fascist, right? We don't care if you're a dictator. We will follow through on our military alliance, on our alliances and our promises, and you know, we'll come save your ass. I mean, they received shoot to kill orders. Could you imagine a U.S. president bringing in a foreign nation's army and then telling that foreign nation shoot to kill? Well, what kind of rage would that create inside you? You know what I mean? When you're out there protesting for change, and this fucking dictator asks a fucking foreign nation to roll in with their military, and they do, and they shoot and kill you. How pissed would you be? Anyway, let's get this follow up here to Kakistan.
Kazakhstan. There have been huge protests across the country.
It was shocking how fast it went across the entire country. We're talking about a country the size of Western Europe.
The larger message they were sending to the government is enough is enough.
The president said it was an attempt.
Enough nepotism. You don't get to just pick your successor and then that's, oh, now this new guy's in charge. Oh yeah, you don't get a voice. You don't get a choice in this, but this new guy's in charge now. Yep. And he's going to do everything exactly the way I want him to do it. And no wonder Putin came in. No wonder.
Coup and ordered his security forces to shoot to kill. He even called in Russian troops for backup.
Yeah, and they showed up.
On the streets, things have now calmed down. But what's behind all this? Is there a power struggle going on at the top? And why are so many people in Kazakhstan unhappy with their government?
Is she gonna kiss me? What's happening?
Okay, let's set the scene. Kazakhstan is really huge. It's the size of Western Europe. It's also pretty wealthy. It has the biggest...
I honestly had no idea Kakistan was that fucking big. That is huge.
It's the size of Western Europe.
What the fuck? That's massive.
It's also pretty wealthy. It has the biggest economy in Central Asia and huge reserves of oil, natural gas, and minerals.
Oh, gee.
The thing is, most people in Kazakhstan don't really benefit from that wealth. The average person earns less than $600 a month. And then there's a small group of super rich tycoons. 162 people own around 50% of the country's wealth, according to one report.
Sounds real familiar.
Kazakhstan has really a two-tier system. One for the oligarchic elites that really benefit the most from the wealth of the country, and another one is for everyone else.
And for decades, there's been one guy at the very top of that system, Nursultan Nazarbayev.
Wait. Hold on. Can I say that? Nursultan Nazarbayev. Let me try one more time. Okay, one more time.
There's been one guy at the very top of that system, Nursultan Nazarbayev.
Nursultan Nazarbayev. Okay.
He was a leading official back when Kazakhstan was part of the Soviet Union and then became president after Kazakhstan got its independence in 1991. Nazarbayev held on to the job for 30 years. No real political opposition was allowed to emerge, and basically everything revolved around him.
He built a personalized regime where majority of political decision making was connected largely to him.
For a long time,
Sounds
he was
like a
genuinely popular. Even though he was an autocrat, he was popular for how he was able to bring extraordinary economic growth to the country and also maintain political stability.
But in 2019, Nazarbayev finally stepped down as president, and his hand-picked successor, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, became president, in name anyway, because Nazarbayev stuck around. He kept his title of El-Basi, that's leader of the nation, got a lifetime appointment to head.
I mean, what the fuck?
Up Kazakhstan's powerful.
I mean, these guys are they're really just unbelievable. You know, they're really just totally unbefucking-leavable, right? It just remember when Putin stepped down? Remember when that happened? I mean, come on. Why even bother? I mean, like, the only reason they even vote, or if there's any of that, because it's effective at culling the anger of the rabbles, right? Like that's why they pretend to give a shit about voting and democracy, right? Because it just shuts people up. They have no interest in those fucking things. They spit in the face of democracy.
Full Security Council.
Nazarbayev was really pulling the strings. He was an informal number one in the country, whereas Tokayev was number two.
But still, with Tokayev taking over as president, there was a sense that change was in the air. He promised to bring in some reforms and even went on what he called a listening tour around the country. Trouble is, things didn't really change.
You have a mass-scale corruption, and you have this growing inequalities across different social classes in the country. That people are becoming poor, they cannot afford many things, and then pandemic obviously exacerbated it even further.
So when people woke up on the first day of 2022 and saw that fuel prices had doubled, well, that got people going. The protests started off peacefully in a town in the west. But within days, they'd spread across the country. And even though the government quickly reversed the fuel price hike, by this point, the anger had become about so much more.
Пускай вот это всему миру распространите, что в нашем Казахстане процветает коррупция. У нас Казахстан превратился в частное предприятие Назарбаевых.
Oh yeah. People were fed up. Yeah, guys, what are they doing protesting? They should just watch Hassan and do some Grand Theft Auto roleplay, guys. Yeah, that's the solution.
With inequality, and they completely connected this inequality to the regime and the government.
They were actually protesting against Nazarbayev and the regime that Nazarbayev built and the political system that Nazarbayev built. And Tokayev was seen just as a figurehead.
He was.
Things soon got violent, especially in Kazakhstan's biggest city, Almaty. President Tokayev declared a state of emergency and blamed what he called terrorists, bandits, and foreign actors for what was happening, although he didn't give any evidence.
Of course.
And he said this.
Правоохранительным органам и армии мною дан приказ открывать огонь на поражение без предупреждения.
Maybe there were some organized criminal groups participating there. There was lots of various theories and interpretations flying around. It was important to note it was mostly a bottom-up collective action by Kazakhstan citizens who Tokayev now calls terrorists.
Sound familiar? That should sound familiar to you?
Here's something else Tokayev did. He called for outside help from a regional military alliance led by Russia. It's called the Collective Security Treaty Organization, the CSTO. And it responded with around 2,500 soldiers, mostly Russians. Nothing quite like this has happened before.
It is really an unprecedented development on the former Soviet space in Kazakhstan. And I think in general, just internationally, that a military organization is deployed against domestic political protest.
It is breaking new ground in tyranny. You know, it's a new innovation in tyrannical governance.
In any case, the crackdown seemed to work. Within about a week, things had calmed down, and those foreign troops were on their way home. The government said 225 people had been killed, including 19 members of the security forces. Around 12,000 people have been arrested so far.
Look at that shit, dude.
Of the security forces. Around
when Trump talks about how we need to get the U.S. military, you know, when the right wingers talk about we need to get the military involved in quelling protests, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. Soldiers don't know peace. The idea that you would use armed soldiers to foment peace is just the most ridiculous fucking thing in the world. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. So next time you support your right-wing government in the United States, remember this is what it looks like when they're you know, stopping BLM rioters. Oh no, the rioters. Oh no, they burned down a McDonald's. This is what it looks like. An assault rifle to the back of an unarmed person's neck.
12,000 people have been arrested so far.
The vast majority of those arrested are just ordinary people who came to the streets to voice
they're
their
terrorists.
economic grievances. So that in itself shows that the government will not shy away from repression.
Now there's something else going on here, and that's all the political intrigue and what looks like a power struggle at the top. Remember how we said that when Tokayev became president, Nazarbayev was still pulling the strings? Well, it looks like things have shifted. During this whole time, Nazarbayev was nowhere to be seen. There were even rumors he'd fled the country.
Get that defeatist nonsense out of my fucking face. Misanthropy. Fuck you.
Rumors he eventually denied in a video statement on his website.
Сообщаю, что я в 2019 году передал полномочия президента Касым-Жомарту Токаеву. И с тех пор являюсь пенсионером. И в настоящее время нахожусь на заслуженном отдыхе в столице Казахстана и никуда не уезжал.
Now in that statement, Nazarbayev also denied there were any divisions at the top. But one thing looks pretty clear. Tokayev seems to have strengthened his position. Tokayev took Nazarbayev's job as head of the Security Council, and a close ally of Nazarbayev, the head of the intelligence agency, was arrested for treason. Tokayev also appointed a new prime minister and a new cabinet. But the big question is what this actually means for people in Kazakhstan. Are they going to see things change? He announced a bunch of new policies, things like higher taxes for mining companies and a new social fund that the richest people and companies are meant to pay into.
He openly declared that it's time for a much more fair and just wealth redistribution. So the economic growth should translate into actual benefits for ordinary citizens.
So a lot of what you spoke about is still slightly ambiguous. It does respond to some of the grievances, but we don't, unless we see it in action, it's still too early to talk about these things.
What we've seen with the recent events in Kazakhstan are the first big signs of cracks in the system, the old way of doing things. Tokayev seems to be trying to paper over those cracks, but will it work? And for how long?
We saw similar popular uprising in Georgia, in Ukraine, and Kyrgyzstan. Now we see this in Kazakhstan. It is a sign of a more mature citizenry, politically mature citizenry that is ready to ask for the right for representation and their voices to be heard.
In case you missed it or haven't yet seen our most recent explainer on what's happening in Ukraine, we've linked it here for you. Also, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel so you don't miss our upcoming episodes.
What do you say? I don't know. I kind of like her. Let's go ahead and let's watch her Ukraine video. I'm curious now. It has nothing to do with her physical attractiveness. Thank you very much. Don't make fun of me. But I mean, we've been covering. I mean, we might as well. I mean, we've been covering Ukraine as well. So let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at her Ukraine video. I do think Russia is going to. I think they're going to do something. I don't know if it's going to be a full-on invasion or what. But a lot of armchair strategists on Reddit are saying that Russia is basically waiting for the weather to be favorable for massive troop movements, and then they'll try something. I don't think Putin's worried about the sanctions. I really don't. I don't think he gives a shit. I think I think that's why they're forming these alliances, with China and, and Iran and everywhere else, right? Anywhere else that'll take them is because, they're trying to create an economic system outside of the dollar. I guess that's really the calculation here is like, well, okay, because there's some speculation that the United States could just kick Russia out of global trade with the dollar. I don't know how would that even work? Could you actually do that? Could you force Russia to not use the dollar in trading? I don't think that's possible, right? I think that's how it works. It's supposed to be a free market. Welcome back, Rob. It's good to see you. Appreciate it. But yeah, let's see here. What do you think? Tell me in the chat. What do you think? You think Russia will invade Ukraine? I think they're going to do something. I don't know if it's going to be a full-on. It ain't going to be no American-style, Afghanistan, Iraq-style occupation. I can tell you that. I don't think Russia could afford that. But I do think they are going to try something.
About Ukraine and the threat it's facing.
Yeah, get over it.
From Russia. President Vladimir Putin has been building up his forces along the border. There are now tens of thousands of soldiers there.
NATO is alarmed about Russia's military buildup on Ukraine's borders. New intelligence suggests the Kremlin is in advanced stages of planning an invasion of Ukraine.
Russia, the U.S., and other big players have been talking, but people are still nervous.
Any provocation from any side can be a trigger for more serious conflict.
So what's behind all this? To understand the story, here are 5 things you need to know.
I will not make a comment about her physical attractiveness.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. Here's Ukraine. It's sandwiched between Russia on one side, Belarus to the north, and the rest of Europe on the other side. And that geography puts Ukraine on the front line in a big power play between Russia and the West. And here's the first thing to know about what's going on right now. It looks like Russia's ready for a fight. All along the border with Ukraine, there are around 100,000 Russian soldiers, hundreds of tanks, and lots of heavy artillery.
When I talk to Russian military experts, they say that there's missiles in places where they shouldn't be, and that tanks are fully dressed. And this idiom doesn't mean that the tanks have lipstick on or their earrings on. It means that they have metal cages on and they're ready for war.
We are very, very concerned.
Fully armored.
But we are not panicking. We live with Russian threat for almost 8 years. So army is preparing, but definitely, it's not very comfortable.
Thing is, the relationship between Russia and Ukraine has not been very comfortable for a while now. And that's putting it mildly.
Yeah.
So here's the second thing you need to know. There's history between these two. This is the quick version. Ukraine and Russia were both part of the Soviet Union. When the USSR broke up in 1991, they became separate, independent countries. Russia was the most powerful country in the region, and still is.
Russia has a very parochial view of Ukraine. Russia.
Okay, we're learning all kinds of new words here. Parochial? Having a limited or narrow outlook or scope. I love learning. This is so great. 2 words today. Parochial. Everyone is so smart. Yeah, I know she's very pretty, Rob. I will not make a comment on that.
Russia sees Ukraine as its little brother. Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union, of course, but Ukraine has its own independent identity. And part of what we're seeing here, and part of what we've been seeing since 2013, is
interesting.
So Moscow does not want to let Ukraine go.
So what happened in 2013? Well, that year kicked off a really tumultuous time for Ukraine. It was tested. Would it lean more towards its European neighbors in the West or stay within Russia's orbit?
God damn it.
The president back then, Viktor Yanukovych, was about to sign a political and economic deal with EU. But instead, he signed a deal with Moscow, which a lot of Ukrainians saw as a sign of pressure from Russia. There were huge protests that went on for months. Yanukovych was kicked out, and the EU deal was eventually signed by a new president.
It was a protest against attempts to impose authoritarian model on Ukraine.
Now, while all this was happening in early 2014, President Putin made a big move. He sent forces into Crimea. It's a peninsula that had been part of Ukraine since the 1950s, but Russian speakers are a majority of the population, and Crimea always had close ties with Russia. There was a referendum in Crimea, which Ukraine and the West said was illegal, but the people there voted to join Russia. And the next thing we knew, Russia had annexed Crimea.
The referendum in Crimea was a clear violation of Ukrainian constitutions and international law.
Nobody predicted in 2014 that Russia would attack Ukraine. It happened.
But it didn't end with Crimea, because things also kicked off in eastern Ukraine. We're talking about the Donbas region. It's made up of Luhansk and Donetsk, and is a part of Ukraine that has a big population of ethnic Russians. In April 2014, pro-Russian separatists started taking territory, and the fighting became a full-scale war between them and the Ukrainian military. The separatists took control of two areas. They named them the People's Republics of Luhansk and Donetsk, and said they were independent from Ukraine. Russia was accused of backing the separatists with troops and weapons, although Moscow has always denied it. 8 years later, diplomatic initiatives to resolve the crisis have basically failed. More than 14,000 people have been killed, with 1.5 million forced to leave their homes. The status of eastern Ukraine still hangs in the balance, and the fighting hasn't stopped. So that's the history lesson, which helps to explain where we are now. But then there's NATO, and that's the next thing you need to know about. With everything that's happened in the last 8 years, Ukraine's been getting a lot of military support from the West. It's now closer than ever to NATO, and Russia doesn't like it.
By the way, thank you, OG. Thank you, OG Lee, for sticking around. I do appreciate it. I know we don't agree on everything when it comes to communism, but I do appreciate your support all the same. Thank you so much. The fuck is my mouse? You too, Rob. Thank you for coming back.
In Washington, the signing ceremony of the North Atlantic Treaty.
Now remember, NATO is the military alliance founded by Western countries after World War II to band together against the Soviet Union. Since the collapse of the Soviet Union, NATO's expanded eastward. NATO now includes countries that Russia sees as being in its backyard, like Poland, Bulgaria, and the Baltic states.
Yeah.
And Russia believes that's a threat to its own security.
Because it is.
It doesn't want Ukraine to be next on the list, even though most experts think that's pretty unlikely anyway.
They're not
Ясно,
joining
что один
NATO.
из важнейших элементов сегодня — это стабильность и безопасность, обеспечение безопасности вот на этом участке, на этом направлении. И мы должны понять, как будет обеспечена наша безопасность. Поэтому без всяких хитростей мы просто прямо поставили вопрос, что никакого движения НАТО на восток дальше быть не должно.
That is not.
Now,
and look-
Putin recently.
And look, that is not an unreasonable request. Like I said, imagine you're an American, okay? Let's just assume it. I know most people aren't American who are watching me, but imagine Russia rolls into Canada and Mexico and sets up bases everywhere, and then pretends like this is defense. You know, it's totally justified for Russia to be like, yeah, I don't want NATO, all over surrounding me. You know, it's just like that Civilization meme, the video game Civilization. You know, the army rolls up to your border, and you're like, are you guys doing an invasion? And they're like, nope, we're just passing through. Come on. You know, look, Americans need to come to terms. I mean, internationally, I mean, all the Western allies need to come to terms with the threat that NATO is posing.
He made some pretty big demands, which he wants as legal guarantees. Among other things, he wants NATO to stop any kind of military cooperation with Ukraine and to rule out NATO membership for Ukraine or anyone else.
And that's a red line. We know that the West will not agree to that. Washington can't agree to that.
Russia is demanding very, very complicated things.
Why is my
Putin is trying
computer
not
doing
to
this?
speak about Russia's proposal as an ultimatum. But in fact, it's an ultimatum.
So Putin's made those big demands, and he has all those troops on the border. But what's his actual strategy? Well, the next thing you need to know is that some people think there's a lot more going on here.
People want to understand the logic of Putin, and it's still not clear.
One theory is that this is an elaborate bluff. Putin is trying to scare the heck out of everyone. He's trying to scare Biden, he's trying to scare the Ukrainians, and he's trying to scare Western Europe into a deal.
Another theory is that this isn't just about NATO and military security. It's also about Putin's own political security. If Ukraine looks like a successful alternative to his way of running a country, well, maybe that makes Putin more vulnerable.
Putin is afraid of democracy and freedoms. And you have Ukraine on his borders where many Russian-speaking Ukrainians, many Russians live, and it's a free country. So this was interpreted by Putin as an existential threat to his authoritarian regime.
Yeah, you know, and the last video we watched went into that you know, that Putin is worried about democracy spreading because he doesn't want to be challenged. Excuse me, he doesn't want to be challenged internally for the autocrat that he is.
Ukraine succeeds, then all of his excuses are invalid. Russia and Ukraine are similar enough that he won't be able to say that democracy is impossible in Russia, right?
Okay, so here's the last thing you need to know. The current state of play. The US and its allies have been threatening tough sanctions against Putin if he does go ahead and invade Ukraine. They'd be designed to crush Russia's economy and hit its tech and defense sectors.
Aggression against Ukraine will be met with massive consequences.
But some experts question whether sanctions are much of a deterrent and think Russia is already making a plan for how it would deal with them. Now, the US and Russia and others have been holding talks. The idea is to calm things down and avoid a war. But no one seems to be budging.
We underscore that for us it's absolutely mandatory to make sure that Ukraine never ever becomes member of NATO.
Russia has to make a stark choice: de-escalation and diplomacy, or confrontation and consequences.
One thing's for sure.
Boy, that sounds like a real peaceful fucking organization there, doesn't it?
This is a high-stakes situation for Russia, for the US and NATO, and especially for the people of Ukraine. The big question is, what's Putin's next move?
I know him for many, many years. He will be tough till the end. He will be tough till the real red line. And this red line is Ukraine.
Whew. So I guess it's wait and see, boys. Wait and see, boys and girls, theys and thems. Wait and see. Well, that was fascinating. Thank you, Al Jazeera. I like that. God, this is crazy. This is nuts. Yeah, we have news coming up here on Syria, and we also have some Yemenis news here. Real quick, though, just wanted to take a shit on the Pope real quick. If you don't mind, I'd just like to, I don't know, take a shit on the Pope. If you don't mind. Hope you don't mind. Pope Francis vows justice for church abuse victims after damning report. Really? Oh, yeah. Yet another damning report. Yet another statement of sorrow, right? With you know, where's the action? This is supposed to be the good Pope, right? I'd expect this from the Nazi Pope, but you know, this is supposed to be the good Pope. Pope Francis on Friday pledged to apply justice to the victims of sexual abuse. Well, comparatively, Rob, I'm taking a shit on him for a very good reason, because his inactivity is enabling the abuse of fucking children, the sexual abuse of children. Okay? Comparatively, though, you know, at least he gives us these words. Yeah, great. To apply justice for the victims of sexual abuse by members of the Catholic Church, a day after a report revealed that former Pope Benedict XVI had failed to act Yeah, 16th, had failed to act in 4 cases of abuse prior to becoming Pope. Just a little pedophilia, guys. Just a little child rape. No big. Thursday's report looked into sexual abuse cases by members of the clergy in the Munich Archdiocese between 1945 and 2019. Ex-Pope Benedict XVI, known as Joseph Ratzinger at the time, was Archbishop there between 1977 and 1985. And Archbishop doesn't mean he doesn't have any power, okay? It seemingly, I mean, look at these guys. Look at these fucking pudgy face. I mean, they're just like, if you could draw a pedophile, right, they'd look like these guys. Pope Francis did not explicitly mention the report in his address. Oh, God. The church, with God's help, is carrying out the commitment with firm determination to do justice to the victims of abuse by its members, applying with particular attention and rigor to the canonical legislation envisioned, the Pope said in his speech on Friday. The fuck does that mean? That's not a promise to do jack shit. So what did the Pope say? Pope Francis was speaking from the Apostolic Palace in the Vatican City, covered in gold, just palatial luxury, right? I recall a story about Jesus Christ kicking the money changers out. You know, I don't have any respect for religion, okay? But one thing I would love to see is Jesus Christ coming back. Okay? I'd love to see what Jesus Christ has to say about this whole situation. Really would love to see it, frankly. We'll never see it because Jesus Christ was A, never a real person, and B, isn't coming the fuck back because we don't live in a fucking Marvel movie. Okay? Thanos isn't going to snap his fucking fingers and Jesus Christ is going to be coming back because he never fucking existed. The Pope. Ratzinger, who has resided in Vatican City since stepping down as Pope, headed up the Congregation for the Doctrine of Faith over 20, whatever the fuck ever. There was a comment in Reddit that I wanted to read here. Not this one, but this is pretty good. Does this justice involve imprisonment of the rapist priest? Otherwise, who the fuck cares what the Pope promises? Nailed it, bitch. Oh, there was another comment in here. Yeah, sorry, Frank. You can't unfuck these kids. This shit should have been addressed decades ago. And then someone below him, try centuries. And then they point out this situation right here. The Liber Gomorianus is a book authored and published by the Benedictine monk Peter Damian during the Gregorian Reformation, circa AD 1051. It is a treatise regarding the various vices of the clergy and the consent needed for reform. Oh, and the consequent need for reform. Sorry. Consequent. So yeah, shit's been going down for centuries. This pedophilic den of child rapists needs to fucking go. Fuck the Catholic Church, fuck Christianity, and fuck the Pope. You want me to tell you how I really feel? So, anyway, there you go. That's my 5 minutes shitting on Christianity. Had to get that in. This is a story we should be talking about. What the fuck is this shit? No. 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 Francoise, I don't want you to fucking taking my data. Oh, now you're not going to show me the video, huh? Oh, it's an image. Gruesome scenes came to light in Sada, heartland of the Houthi rebel movement. Wait, let me just get this out of here. Change the current subject here. I get that current subject going so my two viewers know what I'm talking about. Many dead or missing as horrific airstrike destroys Yemen jail. Gruesome scenes come to light in Sada, heartland of the Houthi rebel movement, as rescue workers pulled bodies from destroyed prison buildings and piled up mangled corpses, according to footage released by the insurgents. Over here in Spain, thousands of children are missing. Fuck the Vatican. Get that trash out of here. Further south of Houdia, I'm sure I butchered that one. Video footage shows bodies in the rubble and dazed survivors after an air attack from the Saudi Arabia-led pro-government coalition. These are American missiles, folks. Are you an American? You paid your taxes? You paid for this. Do you think this is a proper use of your money? You tell me. You tell me if this is a proper use of your taxpayer dollars to give Saudi Arabia weapons so they can bomb a jail. Saudi Arabia-led pro-government coalition took out a telecommunications hub. Yemen suffered a nationwide internet blackout, a web monitor said. Well, that'll hide the crimes. Sada's hospital has received about 200 people wounded in the prison attack, and they are so overwhelmed that they cannot take any more patients, said Doctors Without Borders, known by its French acronym MSF. There are many bodies still at the scene of the airstrike, many missing people, Ahmed Mahat, MSF head of mission in Yemen, said in a statement. It is impossible to know how many people have been killed. It seems to have been a horrific act of violence that Americans paid for. Go ahead and add that little part to the end of it there. That Americans paid their taxpayer dollars for. Are you happy about that? The strike comes 5 days after the Iran-backed Houthis. Oh, here we go. Gee, I wonder why it happened. The Iran-backed Houthis claimed a drone and missile attack on the United Arab Emirates that killed 3 people and prompted warnings of reprisals. Look up the kind of pornography that the Saudi royal family watches. Look up some interviews with some of the prostitutes that have worked with the Saudi royal family. You know what they like to do to human beings? They like to defecate on human beings. They like to shit on people. They get sexually aroused at the idea of shitting on people. I don't look at my viewer count. Rob, it's also good to note that I have like 4 tabs open. So it's actually 3 people. It's you, OG Lee, and some other poor fool. So we got 3 viewers. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm grateful for every goddamn viewer I got. I'm grateful for every goddamn viewer I got. Okay? But to be frank, I don't do this for other people. I do this for me. This is my activism. Okay? I don't care if that viewer count was sitting at 0 for the entire hours-long stream I'm doing. I'm up to 2.5 hours. Okay? Is this masturbation? I don't know. That could be put up for debate. The United Nations Security Council is due to meet at 1500 GMT on Friday in an emergency session on the Houthi attacks against the UAE as a result of the Gulf, at the request of the Gulf state, which has occupied one of the non-permanent seats on the council since January 1st. The UAE is part of the Saudi-led coalition that has been fighting the rebels since 2015 in an intractable conflict that has displaced millions of Yemenis and left them on the brink of famine. Rob, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. Big props to you. Maybe we can crack that 10 viewer threshold one of these days, huh? You know, all I need to do is do some Grand Theft Auto roleplay. Maybe I'll debate an idiot fascist right winger. Oh wow, pat me on the back. I pointed out how wrong a right winger is. Right? Next stream we're gonna shoot some fish in a barrel. So impressive. Maybe Mr. Beast can give me a fleet of cars for that one. The UAE is part of the Saudi-led coalition that has been fighting the rebels since 2015 in intractable combat. The coalition claimed that the attack in Houdia, boy, I fucked that up, a lifetime port of the shattered country, a lifeline port for the shattered country, but did not say it had carried out any strikes in Sada. Of course. More viewers is easy. Show your titties and ear a banana in a hot tub. Ooh, that's a good idea. Well, I got the hot tub. Go ahead and... You want to see my tits? I'm in the hot tub, guys. Want to see my boobs, please? They're magnificent. Now your titties. This is the best I can do for you. Here we go. Here, I'll bust out them titties. Here you go. There you go. You want to see my boobs? Well, it's been a while, but I guess I can show you the cleave. Yeah, I don't want Amaranth viewers on my stream. Last thing I need is a bunch of jerk-off incels on my fucking stream. Oh, I can't show that. I can't show images of dead bodies because Twitch is a bunch of pussies. No, sorry, Twitch. I didn't mean it. I take it back. Please don't ban me from this platform that's been such a success for me. But yeah, there you go. American paid for weapons being used to bomb a jail in Yemen. Oh, they're all shit. They're all shit. The only free speech haven that exists is Pornhub. I wish I could stream on Pornhub. Then I could show you the dead bodies caused by our weapons. You know, I would... Look, I know it's gross. I know it's disgusting. I know some people don't want to see that, but we need to see the ramifications of our actions. Okay? You think we're gonna give Saudi Arabia weapons and they're not gonna use them? Oh no, they want them to hold on, you know, to make them feel safe. Oh no. There are ramifications for those kind of actions. Okay? Don't you look away. Don't you look away from what you're paying for. You paid for that shit. You paid for that shit and you voted for the politician who says we support Saudi Arabia. Yeah, you just paid for a fucking jail to get bombed. Bunch of prisoners sitting in a cell. Can't escape. Like rats trapped in a cage. Yeah, taxpayer dollars used to obliterate those people. You know what? I don't have time to show a 45-minute video here. I think we're actually we're going to get to this gray zone clip maybe tomorrow. I got time for one more. Let's go ahead and end it on a horrifying right-wing fascist note. Virginia Karen threatens to bring loaded guns to her children's school. Yeah, so this is where we're at now. You know, because the school board voted for masks. This is about masks, because of course it is. Okay? About masks. And this Karen thought it was totally cool to threaten a school shooting. To threaten a school shooting. You don't think these fascists are ready? These fascists are ready. Listen to this shit.
First, I want to say that...
Sorry, that's super loud for you. I'm going to go ahead and turn that down.
That I typically come to these meetings with a written statement. I like to sound educated and...
I like to sound educated. Oh, boy. Says it all, doesn't it? I like to be perceived as intelligent.
When I go off the cuff, I get really passionate. And I'm not always able to say exactly what I want to say in the appropriate way. The last time...
What is the appropriate way to threaten a school shooting? Just wondering.
I was here, I did come with a prepared statement. And I did go over my 3 minutes. There were several people here, Breeden and Painter, who had a fit, cut the microphone off. And what the general public doesn't know is that sweet Mr. Cave came up and keyed the microphone, requesting backup for arrest because I continued to speak past my time allotment. Working in the dental field, if somebody has a problem, I don't just cut them off at 15 minutes and say, oh, I'm sorry, we didn't get that problem addressed, but if you make another appointment, we'll see you again in a couple weeks. Okay? So I think what I've asked for before is transparency. I'm not sure why it is that you can't give me the time with a prepared statement, so I'm not rambling on and wasting your time.
Yeah, guys, because this hasn't been a totally rambling statement so far. She likes to sound intelligent now. Come on.
But I decided to come without that prepared statement today. Interestingly enough, we went along with the last governor's mandate. The executive order seemed to be awesome, just applauded by everyone here on the board, and that is the path that we took. Obviously, people got riled up because Northam did, pardon? Oh, okay. Because Northam refused to acknowledge parents' rights. Hello.
Hello. I'm a parent, so I have the right to threaten a school shooting.
And maybe something to do with the Loudoun County rape that was covered up because they were concerned, they were not concerned about boys using the girls' bathroom. However, I still fight for transparency. I still think.
Almost thought she was going to say trans rights. Oh, no. No, of course not. They're tyrants.
That you need to honor the wishes of parents. And as I emailed on Tuesday, we need to think as a collective county. We don't need to worry about what Richmond has to say. And there's a lot of science. There's a lot of good science. The mask protects the person.
So, spoiler alert, the science against vaccinations and wearing masks is thoroughly debunked. Okay? I'm pro-vaccine, jackass. Get your anti-vax nonsense the fuck out of here. Only people that are anti-vax ask if you're pro or anti.
Person that's wearing it.
That's 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm. All right. No mask mandates. My children will not come to school on Monday with a mask on. All right. That's not happening. And I will bring every single gun loaded and ready to, I will call.
Well, then I take back my jackass comment. I apologize.
That's 3 minutes. You've gone past your time. It's a policy. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I'll see y'all on Monday.
I'll see y'all on Monday. I'm going to bring all my guns. One more time without interruption.
Loaded and ready to, that's not happening. And I will bring every single gun loaded and ready to, I will call every.
That's 3 minutes. You've gone past your time. It's a policy. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I'll see y'all on Monday.
I'll see y'all on Monday with my loaded guns, she says to the school board meeting. Well, you don't get to say that shit without ramifications. So guess who gets to feel the ramifications of her own actions. Turns out there are repercussions for going to a school board meeting and threatening to bring loaded guns to school if your kid has to wear a mask. From the Lurie Police Department, from the desk of the police chief, Lurie Police Department has charged Amelia Ruffiner King, a 42-year-old female, with a violation of the Code of Virginia 18.2-60, oral threat while on school property. The magistrate has released Mrs. King on a $5,000. Is that $5 million or am I reading that right? That's just $5,000, right? $5,000 unsecured bond. They can't do $5 million. Released on bond. Well, let's hope they took the guns away too. Otherwise, that's just incitement. I don't agree with confiscating guns, by the way. But it's you can't just show up to a fucking school board meeting, threaten I'm going to shoot up the place if my kid has to wear a mask. A mask? A mask. Nonsense. Nonsense. So thank God there's still some sanity left in this world. And there are some repercussions to threatening a school board meeting with a massacre at a school. God damn. Comment here. It's so wild that these people have it so ingrained in them that going out and simply spending $800 on a gun is the same way that one spends money on an Xbox. Suddenly makes you a tougher, more rugged person. So true. While being completely blind to the fact that threatening violence over pieces of cloth makes them seem like the most fragile, entitled, crybaby humans to ever exist. It's really bizarro world. Well, it's not bizarro world. It's the world we live in. Okay? And 2022, the neoliberals are going to lose their supermajority, and in 2024, it's these people who are taking over. It's these people telling you how to live. Okay? These people telling you what you can and can't do in your bedroom. All right? You okay with that? You okay with the rise of fascism in this country, the complete destruction of your democracy? Will that get you off the couch? Maybe join the May Day strike? Maybe? Well, can you please at least criticize your local neoliberal governor or politician for not having a progressive agenda and backing it up? A populist progressive agenda that would get fucking votes just like Bernie Sanders? No. Let's go ahead and I'm going to tune into Hassan. What's Hassan up to? Oh, he's playing Among Us and Grand Theft Auto. He's making fun of right-wingers. Look how silly Ben Shapiro is. We are completely out of time for this fucking nonsense, for this bullshit. Okay? And these fascistic Karens, okay, with some gun they bought at Walmart, think they could just roll all over you, lefty. Huh? You just gonna get rolled by these people? Is that the plan? I sure the fuck hope not. I sure the fuck hope not. But that is what's happening. That is the current trajectory of things. Fascists telling you what to do. Fascists telling you how to live. Fascists telling you how to vote. Are you going to do a goddamn thing about it? That's the question.
You finished?
We know where they stand. Where do you stand? Where the fuck do you stand on it?
Cause that sugarless motherfucker. So let's fucking drink.
Before I leave, I'd like to give the Garbage Fuel Award of the day to OG Lee. Because I know he's here. I know he's stuck around.
Garbage Fuel.
That motherfucking OG Lee getting that Garbage Fuel Award of the day. Thank you so much, Lee. I'd also like to give props to Rob MQ for coming back, even though I timed him out twice. It shows some intestinal fortitude. Big props over here to only username left. He probably already took off, but whatever. Thanks for stopping in for 5 seconds. I get it. I'm not for everybody. I call you a jackass 5 seconds after coming into the stream. I get it. Big props to you, Rob MQ. Appreciate it. Big props over there to Cosmic Protocol Band. Thank you for coming back. Greatly appreciate it. Big props to Zion Burry. New viewer who participated, new follow. Thank you, Zion. Do greatly appreciate your support. Thank you for supporting the News Underground. Nickname stopped by real quick, gave us one little comment, but thank you so much, Nickname, for stopping in for even a millisecond. Got a follow from a person named Guy Who Disagrees. Maybe you're a lurker. Big props. Thank you. Big prop. You know I appreciate it. Anyone else stop in? No. Not really. Oh, Wiley Accounting stopped by for 5 seconds till I scared him away with my anger. I justified anger. If you're not angry at the rise of fascism in the United States, what will get you angry? Huh? But do I got to punch your mother square in the face before you get a little riled up? Is the complete relinquishing of your liberties, rights, and democracy not enough to get you pissed? If that doesn't get you pissed, then what the fuck will? But some drama between some streamers? Will that get you riled up? Did Disguised Toast say something against Pokimane? Is that what you're gonna get fired up about? All the fascists walk all over you? Peace in that motherfucking Middle East. I'll see you tomorrow. It's that Plankton 187. Oh, yo, big props to Monsieur Bellies. It came in for 5 seconds. Greatly appreciate it. OG Monsieur Bellies. Thank you so much. Fuck you, fascists. Straight up off a nigga dance, coming up off the front of my field as I blast, using both, got them hoes, open as I'm choking up the chicken, about to snap and then I got to show some funky bitches. You're born and straight to see the bunny coming down the street. How they go, I'm bumping like a campaigning G, but no, I'm on a mission, cause the killing's what I'm gonna do. Jump straight up off the top with that AK trying to pump the school. Lefty shoot back.